and very useful tool of bankruptcy. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. Bankruptcy has this dirty word. Why are you making it dirty? Bankruptcy's great sometimes. A lot of times, actually. Bankruptcy is not a big deal. It's really not. I mean, if you have 3 kids and you have a house and whatever, and you're a single parent, if you're a widow or widower, I can understand. If you just make bad decisions, there's so many factors that go into that $650,000 though. Instead of, I have just empathy for 500,000 people. No, I don't have empathy for those 500,000 people. Maybe some of them, absolutely. But that's that overuse of empathy that I'm talking about. These hypotheticals that you describe. It's overusing empathy.
I genuinely don't know what to say here, because I feel like you're putting all of that into one broad story, just like, because you said you've worked in a homeless,
Oh, I don't have a broad story. I have my singular story. You're putting things in a broad story by having empathy for 650,000 people.
So, okay.
It's overusing it.
I very rarely, I don't know, I don't feel like I can reach you on any level here, but I do have...
Are we trying to reach each other? Are you trying to convince me? Am I trying to convince you, or are we just having a discussion?
I mean, we're having a discussion, but it's like, I just...
So don't worry about reaching me.
I'm saying I can't see eye to eye with you, and I don't think that either of us are going to break down ground on this.
Okay.
And so, I have a question for you then. What do you think is the solution?
Honestly, that is a very good question. And this is where we may or may not come together. I don't know. My solution, I don't have one. First off, I don't believe in God, but I'm also not God, I don't have that answer. What I think it may take is exactly what I said when I came up here. A hardship that actually faces all of us. An existential threat. Something that... anybody alive who's not in a nursing home has not actually known hard times in America, like hard times, except on an individual basis. As a society in America, we have not known that unless you're in a nursing home, and most of them have passed. As a society in America, no, absolutely. So it's one of those situations, in my opinion, may require going through something existential. Because it's a human condition. It's the human condition. You don't grow unless you struggle. There's no exception to that rule. And then you also get, to the point where, but you get to the point where, what are we struggling over? What are we arguing over? Black this, gay this, whatever that, identity politics, or just an overuse of empathy born out of easy times and making up shit to be oppressed about? Like, that's driving a giant part of our politics right now, and... I don't know what it's going to take. Because again, I'm not a deity. So that's my opinion. It's going to take some existential issue. Aliens coming? I don't fucking know.
Okay, so I would like, because you said like black this, gay that, but then like also like lack of empathy. But it's just like, I would like to get into like the history of why black communities are like...
Oh God, I knew you would. No. I don't give a shit. I've looked into that. I used to think I used to be a fucking communist in my 20s. Like I flipped because I see both sides at this point. So I see where you're coming from. And I knew the second that I brought up gay, black, whatever, you were going to try to dive in on one of those things. No, if you are in America and you are gay, if you are in America and you are black, get the fuck over it and do better for yourself.
Okay.
You let go of the victim mentality. There is victim mentality all over the damn place. And I'm gay. I can say that.
Okay. So I have a question.
I'm more marginalized than black people are.
But like, I don't know. It's just like, I feel like you put everybody's...
Because I put accountability squarely in people's laps. I put responsibility in people's laps, and they don't like it. What are you going to do with accountability? What are you going to do with responsibility? For how you think and the choices that you make every single day. What you've been through, are you going to sit down and say, oh my God, poor pitiful me? Or are you going to rise up? There's a time to actually feel sorry for yourself, but when you dwell on that, and it's been 10 years, 20 years, that's your fucking problem and not whoever did it to you. There's no exception to that. Zero exception to that.
Okay. So, so one thing I will say that I do agree with you on is that, like, struggle creates a lot of personal growth. Like when I have struggled personally in my life, that is where I've had the most growth. So now I have another question for your follow-up question. I know this is going to sound like a classic fucking lib question, but like I'm not trying to go for that. Do you support Donald Trump?
Some things, yes.
Why?
Wait. Oh, well, I'll answer your question before asking one. Why? Because, oh gosh, there's several reasons why I do, in some ways, support Donald Trump. I'm able to look at things objectively. I do like the stir that he's caused. I do like the break that he's, made from this woe is me sort of mentality. He's caused a stir in that, and I do appreciate that. As far as making America first, because we are the, first world country that other first world countries, look to and set an example based off of. I do think that, there's a lot, the ways that he does things, I don't agree with. And I don't agree with everything that he's done. But to say that he's just all bad, that's very narrow-minded. I'm over here saying the same thing about Obama, but I will not say he's just all bad. Same thing with Kamala, whatever. Like, they're not just all bad. These are people. These are human beings leading an entire country or bidding for the ability to do so. And yes, it's going to take some ego. I'm sorry, name a single president that didn't have a giant ego. Oh, wait. It's a necessity. It's a necessity to be president, to have a ginormous ego.
So,
his just is really, really big.
Yeah, but here's the one thing that I wanted, because you are somebody who does believe that hard times create strong people. Do you think Donald Trump has ever experienced hard times in his life?
No, but had a lot of presidents.
I'm sure they haven't. I'm sure a lot.
No, so, but why are you bringing up Donald Trump? Why are you bringing up Donald Trump? I have to ask you this, dude. So why are you bringing up our president and what I've said? Why are we trying to make it political? We were on a discussion of what is the problem with America and, by extension, first world society that we set the example for. And you're trying to bring up, the president that obviously it's okay. You disagree with him vehemently. I can tell. It's okay. That's fine. I celebrate that. I do. It's okay. But why are you really going straight for the president when the president is not what's wrong with this country?
But here's the thing, though, is that the president is the leader of this country. And a leader sets tones for how a populace acts.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Obama created a giant division when it comes to gays and black people, but he left that legacy behind, whatever, and we're here, dealing with it. And Trump is actually saying, here's a meme, fuck yourself. I love that. Personally, I love that part about him. And this is part of why I left the left. Obama, for example, he never gave a shit about gay people. He still doesn't, I don't believe. Him and Biden, absolutely, even during their presidency, did not like that, but their numbers were falling and they had to just round up a bunch of votes. And so they passed gay marriage. That's exactly what happened. And that's taking advantage of what should have been a community. So that's just an example. That's an example. And so then if we were going to talk about presidents, right? So every single president is a person, and if you trust a politician, if you think Kamala is the best thing ever, or Hillary, or Trump, or anything, you're fucking delusional. Yeah, exactly. There's politicians. They're politicians. There's no such thing as a straight politician. Yeah. Has never happened, will never happen, and I'm from a family, a long lineage of politicians. And no, even my family, no such thing as a non-crooked politician. So why are people putting their faith in people? Right, like I can come up here and say, I love some things that Trump's doing. I disagree with him on other things. But you're bringing up presidents like, whatever. Like, he is such a detriment as a leader. He actually made world leaders respect him. World leaders invested in other people so that they didn't have to deal with him. They're threatened.
I know, but I'm saying...
Because he sticks to his shit.
Wait, so do you think that, like, everybody should walk around with the same ego as Donald Trump?
Like, no.
But like, I don't know what you're saying. You're saying it's like,
What are we going to vote in President Coin? Like, what's your end goal? What's your end goal there? Like, this is the day we live in, the situation that we live in. You get presidents with no exception being egotistical maniacs, and you have to vote for one.
Yeah.
So the situation shouldn't be, well, do you support them and why? The situation should be, what are you going to do about it without going wonky like fucking communism?
I know, but like, there's so many people. Do you agree that like there's so many people that are like obsessed with Trump?
Yeah.
Support, but like,
absolutely,
is that like a normal thing for politicians? I mean, you're older than I am, so I don't know if you've seen.
I think it's fairly normal. I think it has snowballed over the last 20 years. However, for things to be so like pro and anti. Definitely has snowballed as far as the presidency goes, a presidential candidate or, seat holder. It has snowballed over the last 20 years to staunch just support or vehement, aberration, and that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Do you think everybody like deserves that personal? Because like the way that I see people that are like kind of in, like, I guess you could say the MAGA cult, is that a lot of it's so many like underlying issues, or like so many underlying like ideas of subservience. Maybe it's from their parents or something like that. If you come from a strict household, And
I think there's more variety in his supporter. I think there's a lot more variety than the left, and that's what I do. I that's one thing that I celebrate, is there's so much variety in his following, and not everybody who follows him is just a follower like he's a prophet. Obviously I'm not. I'm not just MAGA and everything that comes out of his mouth is Bible, and I'm not alone. By far, I'm not alone in that. The media can absolutely do a number, can it? Absolutely. We love viral videos. Whatever. That's the media. Fox, CNN, HuffPost, if you know it as a household name, it's manipulated, and there's not an exception to that. And so it just comes down to having the wherewithal to look at all of it and realize how you're being manipulated. And so,
But there's so many of those things where it's like, it's so subconscious that a lot of the time they don't have the ability to address it.
Oh, everybody has the ability to address that in their lives. Everybody has it. No, it doesn't matter what time you have, what energy you have. You have a brain. It does come down to, again, personal accountability. You are responsible for what you believe and why you believe it. I will never let somebody say, unless you were a child, if you were under like 25, I should say, and you believe something because you were raised that way, whatever. There is an age, however, and it's loose. I'm not going to sit here and say it's this definite age, but there is an age where that's your fault. Fuck what you were raised in. It's your fault for believing this way or that way.
Formative years are so important to people, but like, all right. Well, I don't know how to pronounce your name.
No.
Hey.
Yeah. My name is Ethan, by the way.
Okay.
It's actually nice to. This hasn't gotten heated. It's been very respectful, and I do appreciate this because this is actually a weird breath of fresh air. I know there's some people listening.
That's what I try to do, because like I understand that like there are people that, I don't know, would have more of an ego when they're talking about politics, and they don't have. I like to think that I have empathy. I mean, sometimes I don't, because sometimes I genuinely just don't know about some things. But I don't know.
We're human. I can be the same way. That's the issue. I try not to be like. I can be stern in my debates, but I try to be respectful. Okay. I'm stern, but yeah.
Ethan, do you mind if I let some other guests up here, just because they've been?
Oh, of course, absolutely. Lives again, but be well, be safe. Keep hosting discussions like this, regardless of what you believe. It's very open.
WCOW.
Y'all have a good night.
You too,
Wait,
Ethan. I like it.
Wait, I'm gonna get kicked and a bunch of people drop or show up. It's okay. Whatever. Y'all have a good night.
Oh no.
I'm not trying to kick you, but like, oh, shit.
Oh, I thought you were saying so long, farewell, and then like 6 people come up and I'm like, what just happened?
I mean, there's a lot more because it said 5 on there, so I thought it would just have 5 people out, but I don't know if it's gonna like max out or whatever the hell.
Well, it depends on what the box that you created. Like, there's different numbers of boxes, and I also don't know if you have to like earn different numbers. I don't know.
Oh, really? You have to earn that shit?
He don't know, so let's support Cal. But I promise you, I've been on live with Cal before. I promise you, any space I go to on TikTok, this man is very welcoming, he's understanding.
I agree.
It's a very safe place, bro. For anybody he's very broad, he's very understanding.
Ooh, what a guy!
Man, come on now. Can we like it? I promise you, I've never came across a live I'm glad to see you again, Cal. You might not remember me. I don't expect you to remember me, but
No, I do
remember
remember because I've seen you like pop up over there, and it's like, I mean, obviously I don't remember every conversation, but it's like I do remember you. But
I love the rapport you built with your people. I am gonna drop, but y'all continue it on. Good job, host.
thanks, Ethan. And yeah, what is it? Young APs. I do believe we had like a lot of the same beliefs as what is it, Ethan over there. So I don't know. Let's. Young APs. Okay, so just because I saw you a lot in the comments and because you did have a lot of the same beliefs, could you kind of explain your point of view in this?
I mean, the highlight, I think you referenced the 650K number as far as not being able to afford their day-to-day living. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, what I'm saying is it's not people that can't afford their living. It's people who get like bankrupted by medical debt.
Medical debt alone, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's dive into that number a little bit deeper, right?
Okay.
650K is a lot of people, but you also have to realize that that number is, I'm assuming, in relative to the U.S. population.
Yes, this is the U.S. population because
Okay. So there's 360 million people living in the U.S.
Mhm.
That would account for less than 1%.
Okay. So you're saying we shouldn't care?
I'm saying that the people that put themselves in that position are people that are, like, let's just say, like, people working at McDonald's when they're 40, right? Like, can we all agree that we all take accountability for our relative actions as we grow older as adults? Do we all agree on that basis statement?
and I agree, and there's nothing wrong with working at McDonald's.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, do we all agree that we take accountability for our actions as we grow older as adults?
We should.
Yes, but
I don't think we all do.
downplay working at McDonald's.
Yeah. Okay. So if we all believe in that basic principle,
We all have a place in this world.
sure, right? But we all don't necessarily deserve to be government subsidized for that.
It's not even government subsidized. I mean, the way that I see it.
Okay. So how do
Okay,
you
so let's
see
take the McDonald's. Let's take the McDonald's one for example.
it? Okay.
So like, I don't. Do you think the only people that should work at McDonald's are like
High schoolers? Yes.
high schoolers, teenagers?
Yeah.
Okay. So hold on. Like, what do you think it's just like not a good job, like not a dignifying job, and to like
I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna come up here and be like, yo, if you work at McDonald's, you should be ashamed of yourself or whatever.
that's kind of what you're doing.
It's a very demoralizing thing to say.
Yeah.
Well, what I would say is that, like, you have to realize what's a living wage and what's not, and that there are there's certain jobs that are
Do you
meant
think-
for people
No.
that are,
But like, do you think
say
do you
you're
think
paying
that-
a rent and you have children,
Mhm.
you should not be working the same job as someone that is fresh, like sophomore, junior in high school.
Okay.
Some people are here to serve.
Hold on,
Serving
hold
is
I got a question though for APs. So, all right. So, do you think that like somebody who is working at McDonald's, they're working, I mean, shit, let's just say they're getting fucking 50 hours a week. You know, they got some of that overtime pay in there. They're working 50 hours a week at McDonald's. Sure, they're trying to get another job. I'm sure a lot of people are really trying. And, you know, but they're still working. They're still working 50 hours a week. Do you think they deserve to, like, I don't know, go into medical debt? Like, if like they have like heart failure or something like that? Or
The
like,
reality is that they're not.
I don't, but
It's
like,
less than 1% of the population that you're talking about, and this is what I kind of brought up is that like if you look under the acts of first of all Obamacare, right, which is anyone from the age of 26 or below, right, or anyone from the age of 65 and above, they're actually being covered, U.S. subsidized, right now,
okay.
right. So you have to take out that fraction of the population already. So you're taking out anyone from 26 or below or 65 or above, which leaves you with about 20, I think it's 246 million people, right? You take out a third right there.
Okay.
You're tracking, right? Okay. So of those people that are healthy and working class, how many of those people would you like to pay for it out of your own tax dollars? Like, just give out a random percentage, whatever you want. How many of those people do you think that you would pay out of your own pocket?
I mean, here's the thing though, is that like,
100%?
what is it? I would like to, because I don't mind my
100%, you would like to.
to read it. Like okay. I don't mind my taxes going to people that, well, here's the thing. So our taxes already do go to those people. So, for example, let's take Walmart. So do you know that Walmart has a ton of employees who are on food stamps? I got to see what the percentage is.
They're probably Walmart in particular is probably the biggest percentage of people that are on U.S. government grants of any employer in the world. They're also the biggest employer of any U.S. Business in the world.
Mm-hmm. But so here's the thing though, is that do you think that, like, so from your perspective, do you think that like we should be paying for their food stamps if they are working age and they do have a job and they are working?
I think they should get a higher level job.
What's that?
No, I think they should get a higher level job.
Do you think everybody can get a higher level job though?
Do you have a medical disability?
No, I don't have a medical disability.
No, in the case of these people that are, in my argument, is there people that are working at Walmart right now that could get a higher level job? Yes or no?
I'm sure there are people, but here's the thing: is that not everybody is going to be. We need people that are at the bottom rung. Like
Yeah, I mean, no, we always need someone flipping the burgers. I agree with that. Like, that's how the economy runs. But I'm saying that like there are levels of jobs, and if you're supporting a child,
not everybody can do that. Is what I'm trying to say. Is that
so what's their
then that
excuse to why
job is
they can't
gone?
do that?
What?
What's their excuse to why they can't do that?
Why can't everybody get a higher level job?
Yeah, I mean, like realistically, if you don't have any kind of disability, why should you not get a higher level job?
It's their will. It's their will to serve. That is hard to do. It's their will to serve without compensation. That is rare.
I'm
Can
just
we acknowledge that?
well, okay.
It's
What I'm
their
saying,
will to serve.
so like for
There's a lot of people that will serve us burgers and flip our burgers.
Mhm.
Okay, so
But
like for example, the number one
Respect them.
job employer of males that do not have above a college level degree is actually truck driving. Right.
Mhm.
Truck driving is actually $45 per hour on average.
Yeah.
Like semi truck driving, like semi truck
Yeah.
drivers.
If you're unloading heavy materials, so yes, semi truck driving.
Yeah, semi-trucking is it's a massive industry. And here's the thing, though, is that it requires a lot of training.
Number one employer.
Yeah,
Right?
it's
Of people that are below a college level education.
You
So,
think
because-
so? Like you think that like people who like go into that industry and work that specific job are just like college like dropouts or not even college educated, just they didn't know how to do anything else. Like
I'm not saying they can't do anything else, but I'm saying that the mass
Trades and
that-
truck drivers are getting more money than folks with degrees.
don't undermine truck drivers. Let's respect the folks with a strong will. Let's
Yeah, I
respect.
mean, like
Let's
Chaplin,
respect the strong
Chaplin here
will.
seems to think different. So Chaplin, I'd love to hear your opinion on it. I would let you take the floor.
So I have a tenant who is a truck driver. You know, he's gone like 3 weeks out of every month, and he like loves that job. He just loves the freedom of just like getting to see the country, and just like that stuff. Granted, he's got a wife at home now who is going through some medical things. She was a smoker, so she had to get her leg amputated because she just her smoking habit caught up with her. So like I talked to him just like, when you're on the road, like, do you ever just get lonely or just kind and it's a job. It's a tough job where, like, I don't know if you view just like everything at the bottom rung of occupation as just something that's like not in an office, which is the way that I thought, like a high level job is somebody who has to wear a tie and goes into an office, let alone has an office, right? I worked in restaurants. I was flipping pizzas. I was, delivering like all this stuff. So, but, like I enjoyed the work, I didn't complain. I didn't need the extra money. So I didn't have like the ambition to try to like get a higher paying job or like go for like management or something like that. Like, I don't know what you would say like is the next level for a Walmart employee that we're talking about, or like a truck driver. Like all these people need to just put that away and just take an office job, just like work in an office. Like,
You still need
Chaplin,
people to do
you
those
said that
jobs.
you own rental property. That's how you started off this conversation. Is that correct?
my family here in Colorado does property investments. So we do residential rental properties here. So
Okay.
my job
Do you
is
help
to
manage
manage
that, or
these
are you out
properties.
of the? Okay, so you help manage it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rent out to a Walmart employee that wasn't getting Section 8 benefit?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Would you rent out to a Walmart employee that wasn't getting any kind of Section 8 or government subsidized benefit?
I mean, does it have to be a Walmart? We do have one tenant who is on Section 8, and, like she got diagnosed with
Okay,
breast cancer, so she has some medical assistance
you're
coming in.
taking advantage of the U.S. government.
Hey, I mean,
And listen, I'm not hating on you. I do in all like hypocritical sense. I do the exact same thing, right?
take
I'm telling you,
advantage of the government? I mean, like, what would you,
absolutely,
what would like somebody like what is the other option? Just like tell this lady, just like, hey, you got breast cancer. I'm not going to take any government assistance because I don't believe like that money should go to help people like you. So
I got some other
like get out of
options.
the property. Like I don't.
No, that's not what I'm arguing at all. I'm telling you that I grew up in Northern Virginia. You guys can Google me. My real name is Josh Purdy. I'm a real estate agent up here in Northern Virginia.
Okay.
Okay, right? I know that like realistically, like half of my tenants right now are working for government contractors. Right?
They're
So I'm
they're
not
what? They're contractors? You said
looking for
half of
government
For government
contractors. Yeah.
contractors.
So
government
Booz,
contractors. Okay.
yeah. So Booz Allen. There's another one, ICS. That's another one that I rent out to. Right? Really big defense contractors right now. Okay.
So you're just providing like rental properties for like these employees of these like
Correct.
large? Okay.
Correct. Correct.
I thought. Okay.
Okay. So I do understand the point of benefiting off these people, and I understand it's a good government business. I'm just saying that like, should the taxpayers really come? Should I like, if I wasn't making money off these people, should I be paying for it? Do you think that would be
Yeah.
fair? And the answer to everyone would be no.
Well, can I
guess-
ask you? Can I ask you a baseline question? Like in Virginia,
I can't choose where my taxes go because there's a lot of things that my taxes are spent
That's what
for.
I'm saying.
There's
So,
a lot
like,
of things
I'm
that my
living in
taxes
Virginia.
aren't
We're
spent
the
for,
capital.
but
We're
a lot
the
a
capital
lot
of
is
this.
spent on
We're the capital of this.
how you're using. You're right, and a lot of my taxes and our taxes are spent on how you're taking advantage of it.
Yep. No, and
Yeah.
I
Especially
You have
during
people that need
COVID,
the
right?
system.
Like, did you witness this like transition like during the COVID period where landlords here in Colorado, we had to really, like be patient and just like when tenants were back like 4 months, like we weren't seeing anything, no hope, and then finally some government assistance came in, just saying there's going to be COVID relief and whatever tenants, first come first serve, register this. So like advise like our tenants just like, hey, like if you can like pursue this government program, like this is what they're putting together to assist people who need this assistance. We suggest this because we need rent, like we can't just like let 6 months rent just kind of go under the table, even though we'd like to, but like you're right. This is a capitalistic thing. Everybody's got to pay property taxes and like all this stuff. So when I was going through the COVID, I started seeing like a very big like divide on how tenants will kind of, just kind of like use it as a safety net. And then other tenants who like got the safety net and then realize this is pretty cush. And if they get like an actual job again, now that COVID's over, they're going to lose this cush job doing nothing. So then they just decided, I'm not going to work. I'm just going to stay home so that I can claim unemployment and stuff like that. And this is where...
Yeah, Kaplan. I mean, like up here in Northern Virginia, where people are kind of like way more sharp to that than I would say, Colorado just as a whole. I don't know what market you are in Colorado, but in the DMV, people took advantage of that way more than you would ever imagine. I would say like as like a personal experience, which I know is not always, accurate to market data. I would say 3/4 of my tenants took advantage of that government subsidized program.
Like really took advantage of it, just like milking it like dry and stuff like that.
Well,
so that
yeah, because like you gotta remember, like a lot of people that used to like rent from me were also in government contracting, which got a huge hit.
So the government contracting companies are paying you their
No,
employees
the
like
government-
rent.
The government is. So like let's just say like Booz Allen or ICS or any kind of like major, government contractors. They're not getting bailed out from the company; they're getting bailed out by the government.
Well, I'm curious. What do you think of government bailouts?
I think it's like, and as I'm telling you this as someone that rented out to these people, it shouldn't be a thing.
Do you think it should be a thing for companies too?
No, I don't think it should be a thing. I mean, if,
Shouldn't be.
if
It's
an
against the free
individual
market.
Employer, if an individual employer says, "Hey, listen, we're going to rent out to these people," then hey, good on that employer. They have amazing benefits. But it shouldn't be anything that's coming out of anyone else's pocket. That should be up to the employer.
Okay. So like the airline industry, you don't think it should have been subsidized?
No, I don't think the Delta or any like Southwest. I don't think any of those people that should have been subsidized. No.
Yeah. And like also with like the 2008 financial crisis, you don't think the bank should have been subsidized either?
Yeah, because those people that took out those loans signed a piece of papers knowing that they paid a monthly rent that could have been higher than what they can afford.
So
And
why?
predatory loaning? Like I agree. Hey, the loans that went out were predatory, but it's not like, hey, like we didn't know what our monthly expenses could be 2 to 3 years out from now on those arms.
But what they were hoping for was that they could sell the house at some point and make more money than they had bought the house for, or that they would be able to build up equity in the house and then get a loan against that equity. So
Okay.
so they were
Yeah.
that's what they were banking on.
Okay, so whoever just said that, right? If I were to be a first-time home buyer and a loan officer to walk up to me and say, "Hey, listen, we're going to cover your closing costs, we're going to cover your down payment. You don't have to make any income, and by the way, we'll pull down our pants." I mean,
Right.
you think that we're going to believe that shit? No, it's complete crap. And if you're one of these
but people
that
went for
that,
it.
then you're complete.
Hold on. What about? Are you talking about like Obama's like first time home buyers $8,000 tax credit, like where
Yes.
When I-
yeah.
like
8,000. Okay, maybe
in that
more
era.
urban areas, maybe in more urban areas that would have been more effective. I mean, like back here in my market, that wouldn't have really affected anything because, like the average townhome around here is around $400,000 to $500,000, right?
More than that.
townhome?
Like 900,000. Yes,
No,
nine. They're selling.
townhomes.
They're selling
If you're talking about in the
townhomes.
Beltway, then you're talking about like above 650.
I,
But if you're talking about like in the
I
DMV
live in.
area, then it'd be around $400,000 to $500,000.
I'm in Maryland in Moco,
Okay.
and they're building new townhomes for $900,000.
Well, the new builds are the same thing that I was just talking about, where they're giving. If you give it, for example, Ryan Holmes or D.R. Horton, I'm telling you right now, as a real estate agent, I've lost loan officers to these programs where they're offering to cover, their down payment, and they're offering to cover their closing costs, and all this fun stuff. But it's not a grant; it's a DPA program.
Oh, we are capitalists. Even if you are a capitalist, do you know how much you can gain if you give grace?
Are you talking about
You know how much you can gain if you give grace?
I mean, like, yeah, I think
As a non-profit Christian, tax-free or tax-exempt church, like I can see
And
that. Like,
listen, if we're following the scripture here, then yes, like absolutely. I think everyone should give grace. Everyone should be blessed.
That's all everybody need. Most people haven't had grace. We know everybody haven't been touched the top.
Like in that same way, I am not the Lord. I should not be paying for that grace.
You
but
will
you are
receive it if
you are
you move in
technically
that
like
way.
a landlord,
No,
right?
no.
Right, A?
No,
like you are.
It's not a non-profit charity event here. This is a business.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, like
No,
I'm
no,
talking.
I get it. If you
He must
give
give
grace, I
grace, but
promise
yeah,
you.
So what do you want me to do? Like give out free rent? Like what do you want me to do here?
Ain't saying
No,
that, but give grace. Give grace. Understand that.
Like, are you the
understand and
landlord?
respect
Are you the
that
landlord
folks
who
are
charges a
taking
late
the
fee
same
every
path,
day?
right.
You know, like.
No.
If it's not the first of the month, you're out. Or are you somebody like my parents where it's just like, oh, what is it, the 15th? Yeah, cool, just pay us, whatever. Like we
Right.
really work with these tenants, like these tenants of ours have been with us. Some of them have been with us for like almost like 20 years. And I'm just like looking at them, just like, man, if you like just was able to like get a loan just to get this, like I'm just like, how do you feel? To like these tenants where I'm just
the
like,
difference between probably my turnover and your turnover. Like I said, I don't know your market, but if someone's been renting for you for 20 years and they're late a month or two, it's actually a good business decision for you to just let that shit go.
That's personal.
it's beyond being late. It's just they've been paying us monthly for like when I'm just like, man, if you just had like the opportunity to just have this house in your name, all of this money that you've been paying my parents for 20 years could have gone towards equity in your home. So why weren't these tenants who have been like very consistent, very stable, like why didn't they pursue this route? And a lot of them will tell us like
Because-
they don't want the hassle of just like property taxes. Like they prefer kind of like a landlord to be able to be responsible for kind of that.
Yeah, they don't want to cut the lawn. They don't want to do the plumbing.
Well, they still have to
Yeah.
cut the lawn, but yeah, like it's just you see just
Yeah,
kind of
some
how
people do it easier. Some people want, they want to do their own thing, want the asset. So that's choice.
Just not thinking right.
And
They're
I
not
think
thinking
it is
right.
good to give grace, but at the same time, don't be ignorant in giving grace. Otherwise, you get taken advantage of. There's always a scale there, right? So you have to weigh that scale. And if you get in the bigger companies, stuff like that, there's less grace because there's more risk, and they start basing everything off risk. But in the free market, that's where we get to choose not to do business with those companies if we don't like it.
But what if our
stay
only
with a
option
small company.
is to do business with those companies?
Well, it's not because we can make businesses. We could become a business.
Right. Okay, so then you become like the little mom and pop store to combat like the big box chains, right? But like that time is gone, So it's like these mom and pop like businesses are usually what, like
No,
food
far from
trucks, like restaurants. They're not like new Amazons or like.
residential.
Well, yeah, but
We do
you're
own a lot
not
of commercial
always
properties
necessarily
here,
gonna
too.
become that overnight. How long was Amazon doing audiobooks before they start delivering everything? You know what I mean? A lot of years. So it's not like you're going to become huge overnight. But I've had friends that have built businesses, companies. I had one friend that built a performance shop from the ground up. We started out in a one little tiny single garage. Built it up to a full shop where we had about 8 bays, plenty of tools, dyno, the whole 9 yards, and it took a while. But at the same time, we put a lot of hours in. You know, all the money went towards it. It was a lot of work. It was a ton of work. You know, but it paid off.
How did
You
your
know,
business
and
do
there's a risk there. There's a chance. But
How
the
did-
thing about it, it's still America. You can take that chance where everybody else in the world doesn't necessarily have the opportunity to take that chance. You know, and the free market allows that.
The amount of rewards that you get.
Oh, wait. I have a
Yeah,
question for you.
you know, and
So, hold on, Moto. Was your company like? Did you have it during the pandemic?
Yes,
How did it do during the pandemic?
I did well.
You did well. So
Meaning
So
what?
when I
Like
say-
you
when I
crushed
say I
it,
did
my
well,
port
I
load.
said 95% of occupants paid on at their due date. 95%.
wait, what?
So 95% of occupants, while I was a landlord during the 2021 pandemic, or I guess it was the
COVID? Like the tail end of
during
COVID? Okay.
right. So like during COVID, I would say, and it was realistically during 2020. It wasn't 2021. During 2020, I would say 95% to 90% of my occupants paid, but it wasn't through themselves. It was through government subsidized programs.
Yeah. Trump stimulus, right? Where we all got like $600 to $1,200, just like magically. It's just like, oh, thanks, Donald. But like here's where I'm from, Aurora. So Trump like named my hometown as like this TDA overrun like zone. He had like Operation Aurora, where he was gonna come here and clean up like all this like rundown like property that's just being like like the way that he worded it, I was just like, are you kidding me? Like I'm just like, I don't know where he's getting this. But
Okay.
after doing research on that, I kind of found the domino being like Harris and Biden kind of using that like Venezuelan immigration like deal, where here in Colorado we were like a safe haven or something like
What?
that, where these immigrant refugees will come to Colorado. They will get put up in like like housing. They will get trained with computer like lessons and also like some kind of manual thing, and they are not allowed to work. They can only focus on this education for like 3 months. So we had like a tenant like that, and he's just like, I can't pay you anything. I can't work for 3 months. And we were just like, what the heck? But he was like, the government will take care of this. And we were like, why would the government take care of this? But then it came in, and we were just like, okay, well, and this is where, like comfort just kind of, like ignorance is bliss at this time,
Like from our perspective, it's one of those things where it's like, if the government's taking care of you, oftentimes it's actually more than the fair market rent that you were asking for. And you tell me if I'm bullshitting or not. But you go ahead and tell me if
No,
it
I
can-
know. This is where like landlords, especially like like large business-owned like real estate companies here, who are just buying up properties during the pandemic, just like, hey, sell your home, we'll buy cash, we'll pay cash, whatever. Like just like
all that.
like
Yeah, because I mean, we were making a ton, but like at that same token, do you think that it was fair for that to come out of the average everyday worker that's like an electrician? Do you think that was fair to come out of like, let's just say like 8 to 5% of his paycheck? Because like I certainly don't think so, but I did capitalize on it because
I mean, like I
live
have
in
to
this
say, like it
economy.
came out of all of our like taxes, right? So this is where like, and as in Colorado, when I heard like this is what the government under Biden and Harris like is kind of allowing that got corrupted and like milked. Like this is how I found out. Like this apartment building that they kept showing on the news as being overrun. I was watching this footage. I was like, it's the same apartment number that keeps getting like focused on. And then I found out it was owned by like some, LLC out in New York, like under, like some blanket thing where I found out their company made a killing off of just this random real estate purchase here in Colorado that ended up really paying off. And they used that to just, make like this bigger thing out in New York. And then they just didn't do any of the maintenance stuff. They just let this complex get run down and didn't
They
care
did the
about the people.
slumlord thing.
They did the
They
slumlord.
did
They
the
were
slumlord
accused of
thing.
being slumlords. right? And my theory is that they were trying to gentrify this area because this area was just kind of, it's known as like the urban area type here in Colorado, where the people who like owned like their little apartment in this building, like they loved that property, they cherished that property, and it really broke their heart to see like their neighbors who were coming in just like not caring, just throwing stuff out in the thing, and then they call like their property
Hey,
manager.
Gillis, is
or,
that you?
But
Is that you?
market
Shane Gillis, is that you? Chaplain?
what?
No, I'm just playing. No, I'm just playing. I'm sorry. I'm just joking. I'm sorry.
Were you one of my tenants? Did I like wrong yet?
No. I like what you're saying. I agree with you saying.
what they paid for that. You also got to remember the interest rates during the bounce back time of that era was probably around like what 2 to 4%.
Yeah.
They were,
But see-
they were making, like you can say that that's taking advantage of the market, and I would agree with you. Who didn't during that time? If you're getting an interest rate for like 3 or 4%, why would you not buy homes?
But
if
even
it's below a 3, like
but even with that interest rate,
that's fair trading.
even with that interest rate, you end up over time, you end up paying like 3 times the amount of the sticker price of the house. So if you bought a
you don't pay 3 times that. That's an exaggeration. You might pay
no
appraised value. If you're paying above appraised value, right? The
by
average.
the time you end up paying off a 30-year mortgage, you've
then
paid
yes.
it.
Yes, but
You paid it 3 times over. Yeah.
If you're leveraging that in any kind of capacity, like if you're saying that that's your single family residence and you're living there, then yeah,
Yeah.
I give you the credit for that. But if you're renting that out, you are making money.
Sure.
And that's in what Chaplin's case scenario was. I guarantee you that New York LLC didn't have 4 people living in there.
No.
They were renting that out.
Yeah.
4 people living where? In this apartment building?
In this
They
apartment
had
complex.
they had like families
New
living
York
in like a
LLC.
1-room studio, right? And it was like under like a rabbi. That's where I looked at the CEO. It was like a rabbi. I was like, what kind of rabbi would be this kind of landlord? So I really made a huff and puff about this to Charlie
That's
Kirk.
very interesting.
Well, they were
That's what
probably
you over there.
they're probably using a
Yes, that's the reality of the market at that point.
See, it's not the reality of the market. It's the reality of what do I think is wrong with America? What's wrong with America is how easy it is for our fellow countrymen to just kind of see this easy money and just chase it like that's the carrot on the stick and not really care
They work the
about
system.
not work the system, but they fall into the system that works us, right? That is just meant to work us.
Fall into the system that works for
and
them,
was
So let me
for themselves.
yeah, and they were probably paying a management property company to manage that property.
Absolutely.
It probably wasn't coming directly from the investor, right?
That's the
So
thing.
the investor
No.
might not even know exactly what's going on. But yeah,
Oh, they
you
do.
can't
They
make the
do.
assumption
Like,
that the
that's the
rabbi is a piece of crap.
No, I didn't say
You
that.
know what I
I didn't
mean?
say. I
Because-
didn't say that. I didn't
But
say
you,
that.
you get what
Like,
I'm saying, though.
Yeah, right.
right?
But they did call him a
It's free.
slumlord, right? Like they called him a slumlord, and still nothing. And then finally he came out. They hired a PR from Florida. There's like 3 different states coming out, and this PR company consultant came out just saying this real estate company had no idea that this gang was taking the tenants like rent, like payments and stuff like that. And I was just like, what the heck? That's kind of fishy for like what? And I like researched it. I went on their website. It's like pay online. Like I'm just like that's absolute bullshit. You know, like I'm like don't BS a BSer. You know, like
no, yeah,
I
Can I
was
say one
disgusted.
thing? Can I say one thing?
What I'm saying is that like none of us during that time, there's if you set yourself up financially, which I think, like I was saying earlier, the conglomerate of our decisions as we get older dictates our life. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Can I say one thing? Can we
after I land my plan, go ahead. Right, but I think that the
Sir.
conglomerate of how we live our life is how we end up in life. So any one of us that is above the age of 30 could have taken advantage of that opportunity. Now,
What
If you
opportunity?
didn't
What
do it,
opportunity? Like
the
to
financial crashes, the financial crash of 2021 or 2020, depending on how you see it during
Wait,
the COVID years, when the interest rates
Can
were
we
at.
all like the live? Can we all tap and like the live? Because I would like different
that's good.
minds in this
But
conversation.
if
Can
you were
we
to say
is
that like the
keep it
interest
going?
rates
Let's
were
keep it going.
1%,
Let's tap.
if you were to
I
say
don't
that
want
the
to seem
interest
like one
rates
of
were
those.
not at 1%, or like whatever they were at that time, I think the average is like 3.5.
hold
But
on,
if you
like
didn't
can you
make the
clarify like
market
what
come
do you mean by somebody who took advantage of that financial crash in 2020 whatever? Like what would that person be? Somebody who like
someone
had
like
a
me,
nest
where I
egg?
had
Somebody who had a
freshly
nest egg?
graduated from high school in
Young
2018.
AP, young AP, hold on.
Even
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say, like, I just don't like the talking over each other, and also your voice is much quieter, young AP, so can't really hear you. So I don't know, just like give each other a chance to speak.
Soft spoken, but carry a big stick. I'll let that happen. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Well, you were talking.
Yeah, Chaplin, continue with what you're saying. What you were asking.
I was asking what's his name? Young A. Just like he said, if you were one of those people who was able to take advantage of like the financial crash that happened in like 20 something like that, I just kind of wanted him to kind of possibly elaborate on like what that person did to take advantage of it. Did they like have like a stock trend or a stock tip that they invested? Did they have a nest egg where they were able to kind of cover themselves
No,
without having to
well,
take?
they just weren't heavily in debt and had 3.5% enough down to pay for an FHA loan.
Okay, so now that you
And
can
then
take advantage of like all these
5%
foreclosures,
conventional
right?
is enough to,
All these foreclosures and all these like properties where it's like, oh my god, I can buy
because
a
the people who
$400,000
afford that are
townhome for like
Well,
$100,000, right? Like,
ho-
yes,
yeah, but FHA has
yeah,
limitations. I
there's
mean, you
rules
have
against like renting against.
yeah,
Yeah, I do acknowledge that. So I'm saying like just like from the everyday person, right?
right.
Unless you're doing a 5% conventional or something, super kind of leverage like that, the average everyday person could have taken advantage of that market at a 3.5% and got themselves a home at a fairly modest rate for a monthly payment.
You know who else could do
many
that?
people took advantage in different ways.
I know, but
I
like
mean, you had people. Oh, sorry, what?
yeah, I was just gonna say, like, you have. So of course, there's a lot of people that could have taken advantage of it. But one of the big things that did take advantage of it was like private equity, and you got massive like real estate like conglomerates like
Yes.
BlackRock, like Vanguard, like State Street. I think BlackRock's like the biggest example of one that like eats up a ton of real estate,
Right.
and they did that a lot. They really started growing during COVID. Private equity started growing a shit ton during COVID. And that's because they took advantage of it. Not only did they get an insane amount of government subsidies, but then they also like understood the market significantly better than somebody who just lost their job and was just struggling to work and like
Right.
just living off of a COVID stimulus check.
Plus they had capital.
Like
No, that's
exactly, they had capital. That's the biggest aspect of it, is that they had the
I would like to address this. I would like to address this because
BlackRock.
that's actually something that would not that's something that like I'm telling you, someone that works in real estate, that's a misleading number. And what I mean by that, right, is if you look at BlackRock's biggest residential real estate investor, it's this company called Open Door. Okay.
Okay.
If you look at Open Door, look at their numbers, right? They're actually making more money right
is
now.
that like a Zillow? Is that like a Zillow and like like that?
You can literally okay, here, go on this. Look at like Raleigh, North Carolina, and look at like just like hey, any houses under $500,000, I guarantee you, Open Door owns like 1/4 of those houses.
Do you think that's a good thing?
Open Door though is like a Zelle, right? It's like a company that does like online realting and sales and stuff like that. So Kyle, I would say no. That is how like the businesses, like the white collar, like higher ups, like come in and say like,
more money right now because they can pay cash for a home and not have to ask for closing costs or anything like that. Versus when they were in 2021, they had a lower market cap. It was It was way easier to afford a home as far as monthly payment goes back then than it is right now. And they're actually buying more homes right now between 2023 and 2024 than they are back when they were doing it in 2021 because you could leverage yourself as a cash buyer and get a 2 or 3% interest rate versus
But
Can I
right now where you have
can I say one thing?
Yeah,
and
let
compete with the same people that are paying cash for a home. I'm telling you that they're making more money right now than they were back then when it was 2021 or 2020. There's
Right.
no way that 1% interest rate was not
Because
competing
like playing Monopoly, they just bought like a hotel and a house every time they landed on a spot, and even just bought
Right,
out the
right.
spot, right?
with capital.
Right, because they could.
Yeah.
But the difference is that they were paying cash when other people were using leverage. So if you're
Sure.
using leverage at a 1% interest rate, it's a lot easier to compete with these people than when you're versus like a 6.5 or 7% interest rate, which is what the market is right now.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
kind of a long way to go to make your point, but that is a point. Yes.
So okay, yeah.
So should there be a cap? Should we place a cap on how many like properties or how much land like these like entities, these
See,
like companies can
now,
actually?
to go back to the question, what is wrong? What is wrong with America? If you, I happen to know, I'm an older person. I happen to know that my parents bought a house in central New Jersey for $17,000 in the early '60s. My father was probably making around that much per year. Okay, so there was other expenses, and he had kids and everything else. But by the time they sold that house, it appreciated about 10 times. Right now, he wasn't making 10 times what he was making when he bought. When they sold the house. So that's what's wrong with America, is that it's blown out of proportion way too much. And part of it has to do with these people who can drive the demand by buying up huge blocks of houses, which in turn jacks up the property rates, right?
It throws a cog
Early
in the whole
birds.
system, right? Like
So
no,
if you,
it's like
so
the
if you,
it's like the
if you-
flip or flop, like like those people who are just like
yeah,
flipping houses and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
sure,
Yeah.
but
It's
if
the
you
early
look at the
birds.
Well,
if you
and
look at
if
the
not-
trend, if you look at the trend of salaries, people making salaries, and their that line that goes up over the years, and the price of housing over the years, it's totally divergent, and that's a problem, because now we have families with two wage earners struggling to own a home, whereas before my mom could stay at home, right? I mean, that's really screwed up. That's messed up. And
Yeah.
it's stuck like that now. It's stuck. And so what's going to happen
Depends on where
is
you
that
live too.
it does, but overall property rates are going up over and over. So what's going to happen is it going to pop, and does everybody lose all the money they put into their houses? Because right now, people who own
You want to
houses,
know what's going to happen?
that's their primary investment. People who own houses, that's their primary investment. That's what they're planning on being
You
able
know
to
the
sell
reason
once
why
the kids can move out.
houses aren't selling right now? Like one of the reasons why that like the housing market is starting to show stalling.
Besides the high price and
Black
the
inventory
interest rates.
investors is what I've seen in the market right now.
Is that there's no reason to negotiate. Sellers have no incentive to bring their prices down. So instead of selling selling a person with a good offer at a lower than what they expected rate, they're just pulling their house off the market.
That's true.
Weekends. Can I elaborate on that?
That is
'Cause
true.
I agree with you as someone that's been in this market, and I also represent, like, through reciprocity, 4 states right now. What you see, and I guarantee you guys can see this on Zillow in your current market right now, there are tons of homeowners that just own their house completely cash. What the guy before me was talking about. So they can afford to sit on their house for 70 3 months of a hypothetical mortgage, right?
Well-
and not really pay anything besides property tax. So if you want a market correction, which I feel like a lot of people are looking for here, right?
Okay.
The way to make that market correction is probably one of two things, and it's sadly these boomers are going to have to lose equity in their home, or big time investors like what I was talking about earlier in Raleigh, BlackRock, Open Door, these really big companies are going to have to lose their ass. Now, sadly, a lot of people are involved in one of those two companies. And
Hold
that's just
on.
the
Why
reality.
would
It's
the
gonna hit
boomers?
their. It's gonna
Why
hit
would
their
the
ego.
boomers?
It's gonna hit their ego. It's gonna hit their legacy. It's gonna hit their ego, and it's gonna hit their legacy. They
Well,
are not
it's
willing
gonna-
to do that.
Yep, it's going to hit. It's
Well-
going to hit the money that they leave behind for their children, and that is
Well,
something that is
understand that
for a lot of people to digest.
it's the problem here is that wages are out of whack with respect to the price of housing. Now, either wages come up or housing comes down, or there's some narrowing of that gap in both directions, from both directions.
They're not dealing with that. They're just playing with us.
I kind of
They
disagree
playing with
a lot
us
of people.
stricter.
This
They
is where
not
I
dealing with that.
disagree.
They already
Exactly.
got their money,
If
but
you
all
are
they trying to do
commercial
is save their
investor-
money.
Exactly.
They don't have to deal with working to get it. We're working to get
Exactly.
it.
So this is where I disagree with a lot of people, because this is where you draw the line between someone that is just trying to get their first home for their family versus someone that is actually a commercial investor, right?
Right.
In FHA, you only have to pay a 3.5% down for a home. The gateway for the money.
Yeah,
that
but you still have to carry
qualify-
PMI, which raises your price. Like you're paying so much
private
more
mortgage
than what it would
insurance, the
cost.
private mortgage insurance.
Anyways,
which is
like,
what you'd be
the
paying
nice
at
thing would be
5%
to finish,
conventional is
Young.
actually less. than
Young,
what
do you know
you'd be
how I
paying.
know you're not old? It's not your name.
Well, okay, yeah, you can say that all you want, but you can debate me on facts.
No, I'm saying you cut
Because my
people
name
off
is
in the middle of
Dave
them
Gray.
talking to you, and you're basically agreeing with me, but you're trying to get to it first to score some points. And it's like, we can talk too, man. Like it's very easy. Just listen. It's one
Okay,
of the
so
best
that's-
things
that was
about
fine. Go
learning.
ahead.
You don't have to
I'll
do
let
much
you
but listen.
take the floor here, sir. You got it. Let's hear your knowledge.
I mean, you already decided to take my point, so yeah, go right ahead and teach us something new.
Okay, I will, since you let me take the floor here. Like I was saying earlier before you interrupted
I didn't.
me.
You're just a dickhead. Take it easy, host. Have a nice day.
3.5%. Yeah, go ahead and leave, buddy. Yeah, fucking bitch. 3.5% of an FHA loan is not something that is unattainable for the average American versus their home price right now. Okay, and that's what an FHA loan
To
is.
start with, sure. Yeah, to start
And
with.
the monthly payment, if you're trying to weigh out that versus PMI right now, I would encourage you to look what a 5% conventional is versus a 3.5% FHA is.
Well, yeah,
But see, like
but
that's the
even
problem
so-
to me. It's like these interest rates that is just like I don't know what that means. Like sorry.
Yeah, Utens, what were you
see,
saying?
here's the point. You're still paying so much money per month on the mortgage. I mean, it's a lot of money for a $400,000 house. The medium home price is astronomical. It's up
Y'all so
there
cold,
around,
bro.
you know.
Yep, I'm paying $3,200 a month for a really small house and property. Yeah,
Which
so
state?
it's
Which state is that?
in Utah, in the Salt Lake
Holy
Valley.
shit.
So the Salt Lake Valley is expensive,
Okay.
but like one thing
What is
they've
your
changed is
thought on
now I have PMI for the entirety of the loan. It doesn't drop off unless I redo the loan, and I didn't get in until it was up to 5.5%. So like
Oh,
I gotta
wow.
wait for it to come back down so I could try to refinance. But I do know a lot of people took advantage when the rates did drop down. A lot of people that are at higher rates refinanced, dropped it down to like 1%. They're doing pretty good. But it was my first home, so I got in late. Although I did come up with the down payment, it wasn't easy, but I was able to do it, which was still about 10 grand. But family did help out a little bit, a little bit here and there, everywhere, and so I was able to do it. But it's definitely a struggle, and my wife doesn't work either, so it's all my money goes
wow.
towards my house right now, everything I make, but. At the same time, that's also drove me to what I do for work now. I moved here, so I don't work at the performance shop no more. My buddy did do good through that with COVID, by the way, just FYI. But I actually came to a paper box company as a mechanic. Now I'm the production manager there. So I'm
Oh, good
kind
for
of
you.
second in charge in the building, but I put a ton of hours in, I'd probably put 70 hours in just this week. you know, and it pays off. I'm not complaining, but I could make more, but I do enjoy where I work. I know right now I can move and I could probably jump up to about 100K a year, but it may not be the same people I work with. And you know, if I gotta run out of work and take care of some stuff, nobody bats an eye, and I enjoy that. So being complacent, I don't take that extra step that I could, you know, right? So we all can make them choices.
Well, yes, but I mean, there's complacent and there's prudent too. I mean, the I think the point there is the other thing that in terms of wrong with America. So let's say somebody makes 100K, about 40% of their gross is going to go away between 401k, taxes, and health. You're going to end up with about 35% to 40%, depending on what kind of health plan you have and how many dependents you have to cover with your health plan.
Yeah, I agree.
That is a lot of money to be going home without, and I don't know how they're going to do anything about that.
But
I
like a
mean,
single person like me on that same salary would be fine with that, right? I don't have to pay for like anybody else's
yes, you would.
health insurance.
You would be in pretty good shape. Yeah, and childless two family homes.
Yeah.
Childless two earner homes. They're doing good too.
And even now,
With a
like
small- with a
Donald
small-
Trump's baby credit now, where it's just like anybody who has a baby, like from this point to like, it's just like, just the things that the government has just like dangled in front of all of our generations like eyes with money to like chase some like false hope. You know, like my family came here directly. I'm like the first generation born here from South Korean immigrants. My father came here, $19, worked his way up to save to buy like an apartment when it was like $7,000. He told me I bought that apartment for $7,000. I was like, what the heck? Like that's like a car. But that's how like inflation has gone from 77 to now, you know, and this is where he told me you never let go or sell property. If you get your hands on property, you do whatever you can to keep it. So this is where my family bought like our like childhood home, the home that I grew up in, you know, like our home. And then when I went to college, and then, you know, like they actually like found a home that was smaller in a new neighborhood. And then my brother, you know, went to college. And so they were like, instead of empty nesting at this house all alone, they already had a plan to rent this property out. And then they used that money to, you know, like pay off the mortgage here. You know, like that was their system. Like they made sure they got a property. And then once they got that paid off or to a point of that, then they kind of rented that out and then became the landlord. So that's like the American dream that worked out for me. Now I know a lot of my fellow American like countrymen here, like who've been here like generations, you know, something maybe down in the history of their family, but something broke down, you know, like that's where I can only rationalize that. But
Well, I think I'll give you an example because I'm an example. My great times many grandfather fought in the Revolutionary War. He served 7 tours of duty, and he fought in the New Jersey, Pennsylvania area. And he was granted some land in Virginia, and he had a ton of kids. He this guy was something. He had a ton of kids. He had like 14 kids, and of
with the
course,
same woman, with
coup-
the same like woman who birthed 14
actually,
children.
actually, it was like one died, and he married again.
Oh,
So
okay.
now and she, I believe she died of some kind of disease. It wasn't like he wore her out. So be careful there. But the point there is, he had a farm sort of situation, and his his progeny moved to the Ohio area because there was work to be done building a canal, and then they moved further west and further west and further west until finally they got out to the Arizona area, and that's where my dad was born. Then he came back east for his work, but all that time, all those generations, those people were farmers. My grandmother was in a family of 10. They lived in a one-room house in Arkansas, and she picked cotton. And they were small-time farmers, and they moved to Arizona to have a little bit more land, and that ended up being pretty successful for them. But that's what they did. I mean, that's what people did in those days. They kind of, you know, I have a feeling that they also didn't like people very much. They just wanted to try to get away from all the crowds because they did keep moving west and west and west. But you know, to think that they were somehow be captains of industry or landlords or whatever, they just didn't do that. They were farmers, and that's what they did. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Ultimately, it worked out pretty well, but it took a while. So you know, if he had held on to that land in Virginia, perhaps young AP would be would be selling it today.
All
You
over
never
you,
know.
just like biting his lip, just like, excuse me, sir. I'm sorry. You're right. I should listen to you.
Throbbing at the mouth right now. I would hit you up. I would hit you up right after this and be like, "Hey, if you ever want to sell that, you hit me, you hit me right up." You know?
Yeah, it was. I think it was.
That is the
It was
reality.
was it Fauquier County or Loudoun County? I forget which one it was.
If it
Yeah,
was
he
in
got some
Loudoun,
land.
if it was in Loudoun County, or I mean Fauquier County too, but if it
Mhm.
was in Loudoun County,
Mhm.
you know, the realistic description that I would give you is you would have 90x'd your money. And from when he bought that, you said it was after the Revolutionary.
Yeah, he was actually granted the land because he had served.
So there is a lady that I just sold a $1.5 million property in Great Falls, which is, I would say, 3 miles south of Loudoun. That's in Fairfax County, which is where I grew
Yeah,
up.
sure.
That 5 acre lot by itself sold for $1.7 million.
5 acres just land.
Well, no, it was actually less than that because it was a 5 acre lot, but it had a house built on it that needed to be, you know, respectfully completely knocked down.
Okay,
So
so
was a
it
builder
was just a
special.
lot. It was just a lot,
It was less
essentially.
than a lot. It was a builder special because they needed
Mm,
to take the money to, you know, knock that house down before they got on,
wow.
right? So I mean, if you know, he was sitting on 20 to 30. It's not a direct ratio, but he would have made a lot of money.
Sure.
So what did that woman who sold that big plot of land do next? Did you find her a home,
So
like her dream home next? It's like, oh yeah, where are you moving to? You know, like,
She fell a victim to a you know, a sad scam that's out there right now in real estate, which is a reverse arm.
Oh
which is a
no.
what?
A
A what?
a
A
reverse
reverse?
arm.
Which is
So
what?
that means that she owns her property in cash. Okay. And what happens is a bank will actually give her money to buy it back from her at an interest rate that is disadvantageous to her. And what happens is that after she gets into that, you wait 3 or 4 years, and the equity that she's built up in that house slowly starts to depreciate at a more rapid rate. A reverse arm is basically what happened in the 2008 crisis, but it's the opposite of it. Instead of leveraging it, the bank will come up to an old person and say, "Hey, listen, you want to retire right now?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, sure."
It's the banks doing this, or these are like
Yes.
scammers
Oh
and
yeah.
like.
Well, I mean, it's a predatory system.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Right.
But
Reverse
it's different
mortgages.
if it's like an actual institution. Like if my bank ends up like getting caught for that, it's just like, dude, what the heck? And you're gonna charge me
Yeah.
ATM fees? But if it's like independent groups that are just like, yo, man, let's get together in our garage and just pretend like we are, you know, like in the Wolf of Wall Street, just like only the real estate version. Just like, yeah, let's get these like old people, you know, like that is
Yeah.
the corruption in like humanity that
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I mean, like, they do take advantage of older people, and basically what the deal is that like, hey, we'll give you retirement for X amount of years, right? So you're 68.
But are
You're
these like
retired.
older like property owners who don't have anybody to pass on this
They've
down
almost
to?
they've almost paid off their houses, and so
Yeah.
that they're to the point where they've either almost paid off or paid off their houses, but they don't have
For
any
for the
cash. Their
next
cash,
generation? For the next
their ca-
generation to
Yes, like
inherit
almost,
or
like for this lady in particular, by the time that she took this deal, she had been paid off her house for the last 8 years.
wow.
so she was just paying like utilities, right? Just living in this home.
She would be paid. She'd be paid
Utilities,
and taxes.
insurance, and taxes.
Yeah, property
That's
taxes.
what she was
No
paying.
HOA, no HOA. The HOAs out here are just
On a
terrible.
5 acre lot, you'd be damned if you couldn't with your ass.
So what did they do with that plot? Did they just demolish that house and build like a condo
So,
complex or
what-
something like that? Or
I was fortunate enough to not get too into like the weeds of it because it was a complicated deal. This is one of the more complicated deals I've ever done in my real estate tenure. The frontage of the lot was not enough to get it subdivided, but the acreage was enough. So I actually had to go to the county with a proposal, and I had to, pitch them the idea that this lot could be subdivided into 2 lots and sold it for, like I said, 1 point. It was quite a sum of money to her.
are you like working for like a company, or are you your own like you are your own like business and stuff like that? Like,
I used to work for a company. It's funny enough because I am a real young guy. At this time, I was 26 and I was 28. But at this time, when I was 26, I made this deal that, I mean, it did spank for a lot of money, to say the least. And I actually got picked up by another company after that. It's a commercial and real estate brokerage.
we get it. You're hot.
And,
You're
I
hot in the scene.
transitioned after that to something where I can get, my fiance got pregnant at the time. I wanted to get something with a higher base salary, and they gave me an opportunity to where I can do both, right? But at this time, I was all commission, so I was doing this for her,
Which is a pretty nice commission for realtors, right? Like I had some friends who took the real estate exam over here, and they would make like what 5% or something like that off like she would make like at least $10,000 or $20,000 every time she sold a house.
It's not that much because like per individual deal, if you're building a lot and you have to build all that stuff, like you're making 2%, 3%.
2%. Okay, well.
But Northern Virginia is growing like crazy. It keeps on growing.
Northern Virginia will never
Growing
stop
in what? In
because
population
the government's
or
paying for all of us. So that's
Yeah.
where I disagree with the prompt here, because you think what's wrong with America, and you can just take a good look at Northern Virginia, and that's what's wrong with America today, right now. I mean, like you can take a look at like all these people that have bought those 2 people that bought the lot. I subdivided it in.
Wait. Sorry to cut you off. Charlie, you got a lot of background noise, brother.
So those
Sure,
those 2 people that bought the lots, they both worked for government contractors. One was for ICS and one was for Booz Allen Hamilton. Right, you guys can look that up later. The 2 really big defense contractors.
Yeah.
And the first lot that we sold of the 2 lots was to a 28-year-old. He was making $300,000 a year
As a contractor,
as a government defense contractor.
what
He was working,
what did he do?
he was working in procurement.
Procurement.
what is procurement? Like this kind of sounds like some like is there some like bunkers being built that we don't know about? Like
Wait. Young AP, was he like with a private military group?
The Booz Allen, I would say 100% has some kind of private contracts as well. Overall, it's not just government. They're a really big corporation.
They're really big. They do all kinds of consulting.
Yeah. So
They do technical work.
I couldn't tell you with Booz Allen, but the other one, which is ICS, which is a smaller one, was basically making all their money from the government, all of it. And I would say from like the Booz Allen guy especially, is the biggest reason that I see a problem in America, because that guy is 28 years old. He had to have someone that worked at that company, because there's no good reason.
No.
From his level of professional expertise, from what I witnessed, he went in without a realtor, right? Whole 9 yards. This guy was not the brightest bulb. to put it
You're saying there's like too much money put into him? Like,
yes,
okay.
I mean, like, for his skill level, absolutely.
He's too rich for his own good.
Yeah, I mean, like, this guy rolled up when we were surveying the lots, and he rolled up in a Rolls Royce, okay, which was a Ghost Phantom at the time, and I didn't know what that really was, but apparently that's a $350,000 car.
Yeah.
What's his name? Who's this 28-year-old? Booze?
I don't. There is laws in real estate where I can't disclose.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have to.
You can give me the website. You just can't do
the company is the company is Booz Allen, Booz Allen, Allen.
They're a cybersecurity firm.
That's what I'm seeing, like cybersecurity and.
No, Booz Allen's a government contracting firm.
Yeah.
So wait, okay. So just to get this clear, what you're saying is wrong with America is like
There's no reason.
government spends
There's
on.
no reason that disparity, first of all, should exist in America. But second of all, you have to realize that disparity is being funded by U.S. government programs.
Oh shit! That's why we agree with that.
The same.
You guys are all agreeing with me here. There's no way that the U.S. government should be getting this amount of money, and if it is, it's completely wasteful.
Yeah.
Like, this is why I agree with more of I agree with more of Elon Musk than I do of Donald Trump.
The flip side, though, is that there are kids coming out of college that would love to make that much money. They would love to make a third of that much money,
Oh yeah.
but nobody's hiring them, and they're in debt up to their necks. So
hold
that's
on, wait.
the other problem.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and I agree with that as well. But I would just say that, like, you have to take into consideration, how many of those kids got engineering degrees, and how many of those kids got liberal arts degrees.
Well, there are kids.
And then how many of them
engineering
actually
degrees
got a
going begging.
degree, right? Like, like.
Yeah, of course. And you got to take into the fact that, like, 40% of those kids don't even fucking graduate. I'm sorry for cursing. I'm sorry.
Okay, so real quick, AP, I'm going to bring it back for a second. So I noticed that, you agree with Elon Musk on not spending money on government contracts?
Yes, it is. And I'm saying this in spite of my own market. It is complete crap. There's
So you don't think that company should be subsidized by the
government?
government? Is that what you're saying?
What'd you say?
Are you kind of going along the lines of, like, the company should not be subsidized by the government?
Not to the extent that they are.
The government is paying the government is paying for their work to whatever the contract is. It could be cybersecurity. It could be putting in a new data center. Anything, and that money is tax money that's going to that project, and it's not clear how that price is set.
That's absolutely
and why it's set that way.
Every single one of
it's
you guys is paying for that. Yep.
it seems unusual that somebody would be making the amount of money that a vice president level in a software development firm would be making by doing something for a procurement for a government contract. I mean
I agree.
that
Yes, sir.
yeah,
I agree with
that
you.
sounds fishy. Yeah.
It's the reality.
There's so many companies that do that, though, including like Tesla or SpaceX. They also get an insane amount of government
Well,
subsidy.
yeah. I mean, certainly Mr. Musk was not working against his own interests with respect to government contracts. All of his costs were already caught. He was charging the good rate. Everybody else was charging the bad rate, right?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Elon Musk wasn't doing this out of the goodness of his own heart.
No,
Right?
precisely.
I think everyone here does acknowledge that, but the principles that he was arguing, I do agree with. Right? So if we look at the big
Yeah.
beautiful bill that just passed, which is the biggest spending bill in all of the U.S. history, relative to
Yes.
when Nixon takes it off, like, relative to when Nixon took it off the gold standard. Um, I mean, it's the biggest leverage that we've ever been in as a country.
Right.
I do not agree with that, even as someone that is more right leaning,
Mhm.
right? So I do acknowledge that. But I think that if you're saying that you're right leaning versus saying you're left leaning, if you're saying you're right leaning based on policy, then you would actually agree with Elon more than Trump.
I'd say I'm a centrist, but
I think everyone here would
because
agree with that.
because I think um, there are things that need to be done in order to make sure that families can be families and families can exist. And just saying we're for the family, but not doing things that are really going to help children learn better and help mothers take care of children better. I mean, you know, I'm not saying that socialism is the answer. I really don't think it is. I don't think it is at all. But if you look
I
at
would agree.
if you look at Sweden, um, you know, they've got however many hundreds of days you can get for child leave on the F for birth of your child. So I mean, somebody's doing something right, right? So
I mean,
we really have to address the real problems and get away from the distraction.
so if you were to look at Sweden, I'm just going to mention Norway and Finland in there and just kind of take them all as a whole, which they all do have separate tax brackets, and I'm aware
Yes,
of that, right? You know, every country is a little bit different.
their taxes are very high. Yes,
Yeah, but if you were to take all three of those as a whole, right, which they all kind of follow the same motto, all in their own unique uh, way, especially Norway, which is separate, right? But like, you know, or not separate, but Norway, Sweden, Finland, all of them at once. The problem that I have with them is not only is there, it's a rare chance of prosperity, but also the failure rate, the amount of people that are living on Social Security in those countries, or the U.S. equivalent of Social Security. Correct me if I'm wrong, host. I think it's 27%.
In Sweden,
yeah, I'm not familiar with that. I'm not
In the
familiar with
three.
that.
So
So
it's Norway,
where?
Sweden, and Finland. So of the Nordish countries, I think it's 27% from what I've seen.
Unfortunately,
Finnoscandia is what they call it.
Sweden and Norway are actually capitalist countries with social democratic policies. They're
Right.
not technically, socialist, but
So
they
no,
do
not
have
at all.
some
No, yeah,
socialist things, like practices they do, because they have like visible government programs and political rhetoric.
yeah,
But that
no,
doesn't
I agree.
necessarily make them Swedish. I've talked to a lot of Swedish people, and
Hmm.
one of the things that they're super upset about is that most people actually try to claim them as socialists because of this, but they
Characterize them
literally
as that.
say,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but they're not really.
yeah. I mean, like, listen, I can
Ex-
claim myself to be blue as much as I want. I'm
yeah,
pasty. I'm a pasty white fish belly male.
that's
Real
fine.
quick.
It doesn't
By
matter
the end
what
of the
color
day.
you are.
Yeah, no, I agree, but it's just the reality of the situation. So, what host? Like, did you actually pull that up? Your
Yeah, I pulled it up. So there's about
Maybe.
300 to, what is it? In Sweden specifically, there's about 300,000 to 340,000 individuals who have received social welfare benefits in recent years. But something important to call out is that that number is on a decrease. So it was about 415,000 people received social welfare in Sweden in 2015. Now, the population of Scandinavia is 22 million. So, or was it? No, that's the population of Scandinavia as a whole. Sweden specifically, it's 10.5 million.
Okay, so that's way
That's
lower
not.
than what I've
That's
seen in all of Scandinavia. What 10.5 is still way below the market average, which, like I said,
Yeah.
I was saying almost a third, right? So that's way lower than what I was saying. But
yeah.
the relative
It's like
the,
by an order of 10 lower,
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's comparing
more
it's
like 0.3%.
3x lower than what I was saying, right? Because I was saying almost 30, and it's saying 10, so it's almost 3 times lower than what I was saying, right? But the relative principle remains the same. I really don't think that there are people
Hold on a
that should be
second.
paying for that.
He said the population of the entire country is 10.5 million.
No,
Then
no,
he
no,
said
no. I was
Wasn't it
approximately
20 million? Wasn't it 20 million? Or is that
no,
Sweden?
10 point.
I was saying the entire, like, if you can combine Sweden, Norway, and Finland,
That's about 20 million, 22 million.
22
Okay.
million. So he's saying that 10% of that 22 million in Sweden.
No, he said
No,
300,000 in.
yeah,
He said like 300 to 400,000 in
So what
Sweden
percent would
alone.
that be? Like 5?
that's about like 0.3%.
No, it's less than
So
it's less than
yeah.
that.
So but no, but I mean,
Way
you
less
also have
than
to
that,
take into
actually.
account that was taking
Yeah.
the entire population of Norway, Sweden, and Finland, and we're taking just Sweden into account.
Is there a dollar figure, Kyle, on that? Like how
He
much?
had the he had the
I don't know if
figures.
there's a way. Let's just single out one country. So you already singled out Sweden. Let's just look at the population of Sweden.
10.5 million. He just said that.
So 10.5 million comparative to 300. So it's 3.5%, almost on the
No,
dot.
it's not even 1%.
350,000.
350 million. You talk about the U.S., like the population of the U.S.
No. Okay, that's completely different from what we're.
Okay. So 350,000. 350,000. That's
Comparative
how
to
much-
Sweden.
Whoa. Wait, I think those are old numbers. Hold on. So social reference recipients in 2022 was 300,000. So yeah, they're like right at the cusp of it. So it's actually been in a very steady decline for social welfare programs throughout like the past 12 years. So it doesn't look like this goes all the way up to 2025. So I'm not exactly sure.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
But like, yeah, it's something that's on the decrease.
So,
And but like that's a good thing though. Like, wouldn't you say that's a good?
No, yeah, I agree with what you're saying is actually, you know, what my political beliefs should be. But from the numbers that you see in the 2022 year, what was the population versus the number that was on social welfare?
The population. So like, what's
The population of Sweden,
yeah,
right?
it's
10.6 million.
Versus, so the population of Sweden is 10.6 million, and how many of those people did you say were on social welfare? Welfare.
300,000.
300,000. 300,000 is what he said.
So 3%.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that number used to be higher. It used to be 4%. So it's on the decline, which is a much bigger thing to take into account.
Which I think is a good thing.
But what about like the actual like figure? Like how much is the government paying that 300,000, 400, like whatever, like as it's decreasing?
I'm looking into it. I can't see anything on like the actual.
In my AI, it says considerations for buying in Sweden. Many homes in Sweden are sold through auctions, which is kind of, like auction property, like purchases are kind of crazy. Foreign citizens are permitted to buy property in Sweden, but certain procedures and requirements must be met.
Yeah, I think that and I'm arguing against myself here, but what I was guessing is if someone's, doing an auction, it's a lot different than America where someone puts it on the market. I think that they're listed below market cap and they just say, hey, listen, everyone have at it. What's the best and highest offer we can get within a month? That's what we're going to accept. I think that's what they're saying. So I don't think the auction necessarily means that these people are bankrupt like it would be here in America.
I don't know if this is gonna come across like the wrong way, but I had a sociology class, and one of the like huge things, because this topic we came across a bunch of times, was the actual fact that a lot of people wanted to compare countries like, Sweden to America, and then, Norway to like Brazil and like all this stuff. But like there's
Hmm.
also a huge social factor that people don't take in consideration, and it's the fact that these populations are not the same. They're not built the same, they're not culturally the same, they don't have the same lifestyles. So
Sure.
even if let's say like we implemented the same what is it called? The same like capitalistic but like
The same
somehow like
model.
Let's just say,
yeah,
yeah.
the same Swedish model and like the Norwich model in the USA, you wouldn't have technically the same, you wouldn't solve everything. It's what they made
There.
us like understand very clearly. And it's also because in order to, implement a more effective political system, you need to understand your demographic. You need to understand like all the
Hmm.
issues that America is facing right now. Swedish people don't face the same. They are not as obviously like the first thing you could think of is like they're not as diverse. They're not like that. They don't suffer this amount of like poverty, et cetera, et cetera. While in America, it's like there's the house and there's like so many things. So it's not comparable. It would be a little bit more defined. And that's one of the things that I just like to, make my remarks at, because a lot of people just like to jump and say, oh, but like, in Singapore the economy like works perfectly and whatever, and like in
Right.
Swedish like this works perfectly, but
Right. But
social matters are not black and white.
in the 50s, in the 50s, Norway, in the 1950s, Norway had a sort of political restructuring.
Yeah.
So it was kind of after the Second World War.
I'm sorry. Can Cal introduce himself and respond first? Cal,
What?
this
Oh, I
is your
didn't.
platform.
No, no, I know. I'm just listening. I didn't have much to like add to that. I mean, we
Hold
can.
on.
Yeah,
Cal,
it's all right, man. I didn't have much to add.
Cal, please introduce
So
yourself. They want to hear
introduce
from you.
himself.
Like you got a lot to say. I promise you, they will agree. They will understand. Please, I'm telling you, I'm here because of you.
Well, I just,
But I
you
promise
have
you.
to get, you have to get a lot more context in, because I do have something to say, but I want to let like, what is it, Utensil Music say something first. Utensil.
So
Been
so
here. They been here. But
there was a very interesting restructuring.
Cal.
Hold on, Lord. Let him finish. Let him finish. I'll add something after.
And to me, it spoke volumes about the practicality of the people and the straightforwardness, because they had parties that were basically, there were four, ended up being four political parties that it got broken out into. And of course that would mean that parties would have to build a coalition in order to uh, you know win the house or win the parliament or whatever. And the
Yeah.
parties were labeled as what they really were. So one party was essentially the party of the rich, and the party of the rich hired sort of frontmen for their party, and that party was for the rich. That party would push for policies that benefited the rich. Then there was a party that was the agricultural party, and that party would be good for the folks who were involved in agriculture. And then there were two other parties. One was kind of uh, 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 a Democratic Party uh, for the for kind of like families, and then there was another party that was. But each one of these parties actually was labeled with what they stood for, and there was no messing around. So that was really something. That to me, I wish I could remember the article, and it was a while ago, but
You
it was
tense like
really
were these four like in
something.
competition with each other, or were they actually
Well,
working
well,
together?
they were and they weren't. So sometimes their interests would overlap, and
Okay.
sometimes they were at odds with one another. But they would have to
Yeah.
build a coalition from among the four in order to, two or more would have to get together. in order to actually carry something through, right?
Kind of like a PAC here in America, like a political action committee, or getting like lobbyists.
Well, no, these were actual political parties.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay.
and that's another thing that I would definitely say is just like a problem with America. Because like if you want to address like America's issues, of course you can't compare it specifically to Sweden because of course we don't have those four political parties. I'm sure it would be fantastic if we broke up the political parties that we have right now, like just the Democrats and the Republicans. You can break those up by so many people with so many different values and interests, and you can see exactly where they align with those interests. But at the same
Yes,
time,
sir.
the conglomerate itself of just the Democrat and Republican, they both do serve the wealthy. They both serve the rich. The Democrats kind of just want to keep the system that we have right now. And it feels like the Republicans are significantly more likely to support people with capital or with people who would like actually, like, what is it? The rich. I mean, that's the best way to say it.
The donor class, yeah.
Yeah, the donor class, and that's a fantastic way of putting it because there's so much money that goes into our political system that gives the people who give that money specific advantages over, somebody like you or I, where it's like we can only donate like what max like $5,000. Of course, we can donate more to PACs, but we also can't afford that. We can't afford that. We don't have any kind of like negotiating power. We have no negotiating power in politics.
Right.
We have no negotiating power compared to somebody with a shit ton of capital.
Real power, yes.
Exactly, and that's where the real power is that we, as a collective, we're so fucking busy fighting each other a bunch of bullshit that like we could have a lot more bargaining power if we started to agree on a lot of these bigger issues. And one of those issues is it's essentially a monopoly. Not only is there a monopoly of so many different industries, but there's a monopoly of our government. There's a monopoly with just the two-party system. So like, for example, it's the railroad industry, for example. You want to talk about four political parties? I think there's 4 total like railroad companies. It is an insane monopoly. They also get subsidized heavily by the government because they have significantly more ties in with the government. And they control so much of our logistics. They control so much of our supply chain because so much gets delivered by train. And then there's the car industry. The car industry also has a massive amount of lobbying power because they also have a massive amount of capital. Because think about, like, do you really think that you could start a car company right now? Do you think that you could start and become a car manufacturer?
Right.
I ask one thing, Cal. I'm not worried about cars. It's my food getting here. All my snacks getting here. All my snacks getting here. My stomach get the growling. I gotta feed my girl. I got women to feed.
Has to show up. Yep.
Yeah, I need my snacks. So how does that implement? You was on to something. You was on to something, Cal.
It's all ultimately connected.
You was on to
like,
something.
whether
he was
we
on to
want to
something.
talk about like monopolies and like the car industry or oil or anything, all the economies like are connected. And what's the most surprising thing about America's like current like way of operating is that it's such like what this guy says. I forget his name, Kyle.
Yeah. Go
to
leave
the
Cal in
volume
the chat.
to the volume of how huge the population of America is, to just have 4 companies like leading a certain industry, it's absolutely insane. It's actually a sign of a societal collapse,
Yeah.
and it's been studied a lot in sociology, and I have some authors that
But
explain
the way
this
it
very
got
truly.
the way it got like that is
Wait. Let Utensil speak, please.
the way it got like that was because there were beaucoup railroad companies, and the railroad tycoon is a famous sort of stereotype for the early 1900s, right, in late 1800s, and the idea there was you buy out your competitor and get his tracks and get his trains, and then your train set is bigger, and ultimately you ended up with 4, right?
And the thing is that like you got companies nowadays, like small businesses that like companies like massive companies like Amazon, they don't need to buy out competitors. They do buy out competitors a lot of the times. They buy out so many companies that they just put under their wagon, they put under their like umbrella. But at the same time, they can just completely abolish any small business by price. So, like for example, Walmart. If a Walmart gets put into a small town, there is a trend of small businesses that go out of business because they cannot compete with Walmart. Because a Walmart is an everything store. Walmart is an everything store that can just get significantly cheaper items because they can afford cheaper labor overseas. So that's coming with the retailers as well. They can bring in people for like low wage jobs, and as I was saying earlier, a lot of people that work for Walmart work on food stamps, so we're already paying them because they don't have to pay their employees as much.
Hey, be careful.
Okay. So this is where I got. This is where I got.
He wasn't wrong.
Right? Because we're getting a little bit too far into the
Don't cut him
chat
off.
without getting into the
Don't
actual
cut him off.
context of it.
I told him to be careful. He wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong.
In order to measure, if you guys are using S&P 500 companies in order to measure the economic growth of the country, you guys are grossly misled. And this is something that's also taught in sociology because I attend George Mason classes up here in Fairfax for sociology right now, and they're free to go into. You can walk into any of them.
I love them. They're amazing.
So the big thing that you're missing though is that you're misconstruing what the socioeconomic factors are versus what the economic drivers are. And those are two different topics. If you were to guess how many people actually own stock in the S&P 500 as a U.S. citizen, I believe the number is 37%.
Okay.
Right? It is not the majority of Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Which anyone that uses this, if you guys are using the stock market to gauge how the average U.S. American citizen is doing in America, then Trump would be the best president ever. And I'm not making that argument either.
Well, I don't think anybody was doing that though.
No, I'm saying that you guys are using the four major companies, which is the 30% of the top S&P 500. There's four major companies, right? They're driving a majority of the stock prices in the U.S. as far as the Fortune S&P 500.
Mm-hmm. But if you have
not
a 401k,
a lot of Americans that actually own stock in that company.
Yeah.
So I think the argument that if you're using that to, base how the U.S. is doing as a socioeconomic class is completely baseless.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Okay, Young Bay P, because I agree with you. Because first and foremost, I wasn't making that point, but I 100% agree with you that the stock market is not a good basis of economic prosperity.
Okay.
Because I never made that point. I don't know where you got that point.
Right.
But
it's someone that said that the socioeconomic class is derivative upon these four companies. I don't know. Maybe I heard it a little bit earlier.
No, they were talking about monopolies.
Yeah, we're talking about monopolies.
So but the monopolies are not driving the majority of the socioeconomic class right now. They're just not.
What I mean, though, is that
but the fact that they exist. It's more the fact that they exist.
No, it's not a huge factor. I would argue it's not even a 1/9 factor.
Everybody who has a 401k is in the stock market. Everybody.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm saying that 37% of people are in the stock market. Only 37%.
Okay, but
that's astounding to me.
So what would you say is the biggest
Chaplain
driver here?
Can we hear from Chap? Let's hear from Chaplain. Cal, Chaplain say something.
I have a real like bone to pick with like just the stock market and what like the
Chaplain.
Let him speak, man.
You'll be careful. He don't even.
I'll be good. I'm a chaplain. I know my words, and like, please correct me, brother, if I get out of line. But to me, like the stock market and like publicly traded like companies, this is where I see the American dream just being sold out. Where like small business owners, their dream is to like expand their business to a point where hopefully they can like sell it or go public and retire. Right? Like that is, and maybe, like this is just my personal opinion, but once a company becomes publicly traded and stuff like that, the whole mission of that company is just to make profits for their stockholders at the expense of the employees, at the expense of maybe clients and stuff like that. So it's like a whole like reversal of the
I would agree with that, and I would also say that it's
Hit
not
your
really the
nuggy.
stockholders.
Hit your
It's
nuggy.
not really what.
Chaplain, hit your nuggy. How you hit your nuggy?
Hold
Hit
on,
the
hold on, hold
nuggy.
on. Let utensils. You look.
They're
Let
feeding
utensils.
us spitting facts.
Hit the nuggy. Hit the
Huh?
nuggy. No. Hit the
Oh
nuggy.
shit. All right, all right.
Oh, the
He
Dougie.
did. No.
That's all right. That's all right.
teach me how to Dougie.
He
Yeah?
did
Teach
it.
me how to Dougie.
All right.
Hey,
Let utensils
W
speak.
for Chaplain, bro. He did it, bro. He
That's
did
All right,
funny,
it.
bro.
utensil. What are you
He
saying?
did it. Thank you.
So
Man,
what I was
that's a
saying,
patient man, bro.
I
But I
was I
call him
was
Chaplain.
I
I'm
was
muted,
mostly
bro.
agreeing. I was mostly agreeing with him, and the point is, not only is it for the benefit of the shareholders or having a good performance hitting your numbers for the shareholders, but it's for the benefit of the people at the top of the pyramid in the company because they're the ones that are getting the gigantic bonuses every time the company does well. They're the ones that have the stock options that come vested. They cash in big. These are the people that are really the ones that are are the companies are running for the benefit of.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
uh, it's almost like there was another live I was just on. It's almost like the encomienda system in colonial Latin America, where if you were a Spaniard and you were Catholic, you could come over and you could set up this encomienda and you would build a house near this area that you were allotted, like a nobleman, and then everybody within that area would be working for you and you'd be able to get some percentage of what they made. And of course, once the people were over here out of the Spanish eye, they would pretty much make that whole thing into a slave labor camp and take everything that the people made. So it's almost it's like how close are we to that? And it's scary because here you are, the fellow that was here before. He was all of his money was going to pay for his house. He works 70 hours a week. He says he likes his job and he loves, that's great, but you're not going to be able to do that your whole life. And and it gets heartbreaking after a while, really, when you think about it.
Especially, and I
Yeah.
do think you bring up a great point about like comparing it to colonialism because like, I mean, shit, we're still doing that today. Like we got our manufacturing, for example, is all the way over in like China or like Malaysia or Indonesia, where they can pay people like scraps. They can pay people pennies for their work
Yeah.
because they want to maximize the most amount of profit. And then something else that I want to address there is that you mentioned CEOs, or like what is it specifically the people at the top? So you have like the biggest shareholder.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Yeah, CEOs, yeah.
so you have like the board of directors, who's typically just like a large amount of shareholders. They're the ones who pick the CEOs. So a lot of the times, a CEO in a company, so it's not necessarily as merit based as we're kind of told to believe. CEOs of companies
Absolutely.
are tossed in between different companies. So it'll be somebody who it's not somebody who's like worked their way up through like the corporate ladder significantly. No, it's somebody who is like already a CEO and is basically shuffled between companies all of the time. This
That's
happens.
freaky.
Yeah, and that's the thing because there's whole businesses of just people who move around CEOs, and like with my friend's
That's all
dad literally does
focus.
that.
Steve
And
Jobs,
like,
right?
That's
Steve
respect.
Jobs going from Apple to Pixar, back to Apple, and just like
That's
like
respect that cultures have an influence on businesses.
Mhm.
It's a culture before it
It
was a
is.
business.
It's literally a social
But you
circle.
guys are kind of driving a Republican
No,
talking
no,
point
no.
there.
Cal was right. Cal was right. I'm sorry. I apologize, Cal, but he was on the
Yeah,
move.
AP,
He was in
AP,
his groove.
AP, what were you saying?
Cal was right,
So
and he
you
was in the
guys,
groove.
no,
But
he
I
was talking
promise
about
you,
me.
I promise you,
So basically,
he was
what
right.
happened was that
Nah,
what you guys
nah,
are
nah,
doing right
nah.
now is
Like,
actually
Listen,
Republican
I'm
talking
listening.
point.
Look.
So what me and Utz were just talking about earlier, I don't know. He has a Great Pyrenees dog that's beautiful earlier that we were talking about. But when
Thank
he
you.
was,
That's
yeah. I recognize the Great Pyrenees. I love those dogs. Um,
So what we were talking about earlier when I was saying that 37% of U.S. Citizens own stock. Of that 37%, more than 60, right, are owned by top 1% owners.
Really?
So, yeah, it can 1% compared to the middle class actually outweighs everything else.
So you see that as a problem, though, right?
No, I see it as
Disparity.
an opportunity, and that's the difference between a lot of people.
You see it as an opportunity.
Yeah, for who?
Is opportunity also a crisis?
I don't know, dude. I don't know if you guys disagree with me here, but I think every single one of us, just as people, we have the opportunity to make it big in America.
But how
I don't know if you
big?
guys disagree.
How big can we even try to aspire to
$500,000
reach?
a year. That's the market number. $500,000
Here's the
a year.
thing, though, is that like there's people who don't need $500,000. Most people don't need $500,000 a year. I don't care to make $500,000 a year. I'm growing up. I get married. I just want like to have a family.
No, dude,
and
I
just
don't-
have a house. That's how most
care
Americans
either.
are.
Yeah,
Most Americans are aspiring to get this insane amount of wealth. Like they just
Okay,
want to.
so
And that's the thing. It's like, shit,
that's fine.
yeah.
That's fine.
But like what I'm saying though is that there's other
So
people who just
then
want
I would
to-
say subscribe to the David Ramsey mentality of investing, where you own everything cash and you don't necessarily like take any risk on anything.
But see,
Just
this
start
is where
You will never be
Sorry,
broke
I'm
if you
sorry.
take that mentality.
I know, but like you need things like loans to start these things off. You know, you
You'll
can't
never
just
you'll never be broke if you take the David Ramsey mentality.
okay. But like, so what is the David Ramsey mentality?
money, money, money,
basically
profit,
all
profit,
of
profit.
zero debt.
Wait, what are you saying? What's the David
No,
Ramsey
David
mentality?
Ramsey is just saying zero debt. There's a difference between like David Ramsey and like all these Fortune 500 companies that made it really big. The Fortune 500 companies, like, it's either you make it really big or you suffer. And you never hear about the companies that suffer, right? Because those companies that suffer, they don't live on to tell their story.
How does a company
But the
suffer
David Ramsey
though?
mentality is just you live on
How do
with
some of these
zero
massive,
debt. You buy
how do some of these massive companies, like in the airline industry, how do they suffer? They just get subsidies. They get
bankrupt
They
and
get
all
bailed
their
out.
employees lose the
The,
job.
the
They
companies
rob.
don't suffer. The employees suffer when they're laid off, when they're let go.
Okay, so
when
who's
they
paying for that?
downsize.
No, I agree with you guys, but who's paying for that?
Who's
The
paying for
layoffs?
what?
Who's paying for the subsidy?
Us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, who's paying? Yes. Thank you. Is that fair?
No.
It's well. How is that not socialism? Also, how is it
Thank
not
you. Okay, so
socialism?
you guys are agreeing with me here. Everyone's agreeing with me.
It's,
No,
it's
I'm-
socialism for you,
Okay.
but not for me. It's socialism.
Okay,
But
so
it's not
I
for the-
don't think that's personally. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to pay out a company going bankrupt.
Yeah. Nobody
I
does.
think that's what's wrong with America.
But the problem is,
Okay.
is these companies.
Hey, man, I
sometimes
just
these
landed my plane.
companies.
There we go. Okay. I'll
Sometimes
shut the
these
fuck up.
sometimes these companies are too big to fail.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem. If that company disappears, there's a huge void. And there are companies that disappeared. Goldman Sachs vaporized during the 2007 deal. I mean, and all the people that worked for that company, people were making big money in investing. They
Playing
not sure
markets.
what happened to them. Yeah.
The iron got cold, right? You got to strike when the iron's hot, and then the iron's going to get cold. But
Is that like the fact that there are companies that are so in like some singular companies that are so integral to the economy is a problem because we don't have that competition at a higher level. Because
Right.
that's what I'm saying. Because we've done this before where we've broken up Standard Oil. Like we've
Right.
broken up Standard Oil so where there was some semblance of competition so that if Standard Oil went under, then our whole economy wouldn't suffer. If these companies, like airline companies, these train companies, these retail companies, if they were divested to the point where it's like they are broken up to where the ownership is put into the areas and where they are. So like, for example, if you have like a Walmart the person who is there, essentially franchising, a lot more
Mm-hmm.
ownership should get the like where the actual money is being spent.
That's
You know,
interesting.
it shouldn't be somebody that is just all the way across that just owns the land. Like there shouldn't be some motherfucker in like Wall Street, in like New York, who owns the land in like butt fuck Montana.
Aurora in Aurora, Colorado.
All right.
Owns the apartment building in Aurora, Colorado,
Yeah.
and rents
Okay.
rents it out to questionable folk who
No.
are on
He took advantage of
questionable,
the refugee sanctuary like program where it's
Yes.
like he knew
Right.
all these refugees who like he takes in. Each one of them is a steady check for them, so they'll start putting in like two families in like a studio and just like you see the living condition. And this is where I just saw the greed. You know, they're just so far away they don't see the misery here. So it's just like right. And then when it gets brought up to them, they're just like.
They
Look,
don't want to
ignorance
see
is bliss, right? Ignorance is
They don't-
bliss.
exactly.
You're crazy.
Exactly.
You're crazy. Hold on, Cal. Cool out, bro. Cool out. Cal, cool out. Breathe. What you talking about?
No, but like he's right, dude.
What are you talking about?
Bro, but like 100%, like that's the thing, man. If you got a company, like a massive company, who not just like works with some company that's overseas and doing their manufacturing there, but owns the manufacturing over in a completely different country where they can pay them workers slave wages. Like for example, Dole farmers, and they got their farms out in like the Central America, where they genuinely don't see the kind of harm that they're causing, that they own. Like they don't have any stake in that. They don't give a shit what happens to those people. They don't know those people. There's no human connection there. It is literally just profit incentive.
Yeah.
Or it's like a different conversion rate, right? Like those farmers like who work for Dole get paid like $1 an hour, and that's like a livable wage. You know, like when I hear people just like asking me from Africa, just like, can you give me like $20? That's like 300,000, like whatever. Like I'm just like, you know, like I'm just like I don't know about that, but it's like the conversion rate where I look at some countries where like the minimum wage or the average wage is like under $5 like a month. You know, I'm just like I don't know. I just look at that disparity, just like something has to happen where we as a humanity have to like agree where the 1%ers, once you like reach that 1% threshold, which I heard was like a $5.5 million like net worth, makes you in the 1% now. So then like once you hit that,
think about it. Think about it. If you're a billionaire or multi-billionaire, right? Musk is worth something like $400 billion, right? So a box of macaroni and cheese costs about $1. So that's 1 billion boxes of macaroni and cheese. He could feed everybody, you know. And not
but then you gotta get a milk. You gotta get like a farmer who gets you some milk, and then you know like you're like.
Yeah, he drops $1 billion on the ground. He doesn't want to bend over and pick it up. So
not only that, but then he would also create jobs.
Y'all do not know this man, bro. Y'all do not know this man, bro. I promise you.
Why do you keep glazing me? Why do you keep glazing me, man? All right, okay. All right. No, but like here's the thing though, is that like you create, if for example, let's say fucking this is a stupid example, but you brought it up. 1 billion boxes of fucking mac and cheese. The people who are going there and producing the mac and cheese for that large amount, the people who are actually moving that mac and cheese.
Kraft? You're talking about Kraft, a company that needs more money? You know, like.
No, it would be the generic brand. It would be like the Great Value brand.
Kroger? Yeah, this is where Kroger come in. Just like,
there you go.
Oh my God, you know, like.
Something I will say though, is that something I will say that is actually kind of interesting. If you are buying from big retailers, I would highly recommend to buy like the store brand. The reason why I say that, because one, it is still like very good quality, but two is that there's actually competition in those spaces of who is going to be. So like let's say like cookies, for example, like Kroger brand cookies, they like the people who are going to be supplying that, they still compete, they still bid. You know, but then you got somebody like Mondelez who owns Oreo, where it's just like, no, they can just put out Oreo. Why the fuck would you give them that when they already have that monopoly on it? There's still competition in the spaces of
hmm
the store bought brands, and it's also cheaper
hmm
because
But
if
there
it's
is a
cheaper,
quality thing. It's just like, yo, man. Sometimes an Oreo
Maybe
is an Oreo, right? Like
sometimes.
you can be like, this is
Yeah.
hydroxy. What was like the other Oreo? Like this is a
The
hydroxide.
how much
Like
money do you win if you
the
buy
Oreo
Mars?
knockoff.
no. It was the original
Doc,
Oreo. Oreo
Dr. Pibb.
copied the hydroxide. It was like this cookie called like some crazy chemical thing, hydroxide. It was the same thing, and these
Yeah,
guys just
it was
said,
called
let's
Hydrox. They were called
Hydrox,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
some laundry detergent. I was like, people were eating
Yeah.
laundry
Right. Right.
detergent.
Right.
Like, so, but I mean, like I watch like the history of America, or like the food that built America, or
Yo,
the industries
hold
that built
on,
America.
Cal. Who was glazing you? Who
You.
was glazing? All right,
Glazing?
I'll let
I've never heard that.
I'm gonna let them eat you up. I'm done with you. You
I
tried it.
appreciate the effects, bro. I love you, man. But like,
Now
Yeah.
I'll see you later. I'll see you
It's,
later. But
it's
you
a little
tried it.
much, my
You
guy.
tried it. You tried it. You
You didn't
tried
try
it.
anything. You were just
I
sitting here
love you,
chilling.
Lord.
I don't even know how to aim the line, bro.
What's that?
Dismiss
You'll
me.
figure it
Dismiss
out.
me. Dismiss
I'm
me.
not
I don't
trying to
even know how to
dismiss you,
end
man.
the line, but you
You just
tried
gotta
it.
hit the X. You
You
just gotta hit
tried
the
it.
X.
These niggas was here because of me. You was here
Hey,
on. Hey,
Yeah, Lloyd, you're tweaking right now, my guy. You just hit the X at the top of the
nah.
screen. It's an
The
man,
X.
audience
Lord,
was different without me. The audience
Lord,
was different without me.
Lord, I love you, man. I love you, bro. But I'm trying to talk here, dude. I'm just,
Nah, you
like, I
you
want
keep
you. I don't want
playing
you.
with your hair. You keep playing
What's
with your
that?
hair, bro.
Yeah, I know, man. Like, look,
Be
I got some
careful.
serious
Multitasker.
shit.
He's a multitasker. Just like
Yeah. I decided to
no,
fuck around with
yeah. No
man.
bad beef. No bad beef.
Lord, yeah,
Lude.
no,
Is it
Lord, I
Lude?
love you, man. You're great. You're great. I just don't like it when you cut off people to talk about me. It's
I
like,
don't cut off nobody. This is your life, bro.
I know. I love you, Lord. I appreciate you, but like, all right. So wait, where were we at? Where were we at previously? What were we saying?
Okay.
I'm gonna let you get yours. I'll see you later. Let me know when you learn something.
All right, Lord, love you, man.
Dismiss me, please, because I don't know
I'm
how to
not trying to
dismiss
dismiss
myself.
you, dude. I'm not trying to dismiss you. I really appreciate you, but you gotta let other people
I'm new to
speak.
TikTok. I don't know how to dismiss
If you want,
myself.
if you really want to leave, go up in the upper right hand corner. You'll see the X. You hit the X.
I don't want you to leave, but I want you to add to
But
the
we'll miss you.
conversation.
We'll miss you. That we'll miss you.
Nope, because I don't like your voice. Who was that?
Utensil music. That's me.
All right, Lord, I appreciate it. Young AP, what were you talking about? Sound like you were gonna say something.
I need to compose myself for a little bit.
You get okay.
Do you guys fear like
But
the
we
idea of like a one world like government, or just like like a
Man,
unified?
shut your ass up, bro. Man,
Lloyd,
cut out that
do we
conversations,
just
do
bro.
we
press the
We out
fear
X.
here
it?
jamming, bro. We need a
Lloyd,
groove.
just
We need
press
some
the X.
music.
Just press
See,
the X, bro. Just press it.
here's the thing: the people who are at the very like elite live on a different planet, and
Cal,
they're able to move around in a way that is
why
much
are you
different
talking? Are
than
you a moderator?
the normal person.
Lord, see you're doing it right
No
So,
now.
disrespect. No disrespect to you. I'm sorry. Let that man talk. No
Yeah,
disrespect. Don't cut him off. I'm
that's
sorry.
okay.
I'm cutting them off right
But
now, man.
the point there is that the people are not only like diverged socioeconomically, but they're diverged like in a way where they're living in a different world, like a completely different world.
Like,
And if you think
there's
about somebody who's living in a favela in Brazil, and you look at the squalor of that, and then you think of somebody who is a coffee exporter from Brazil and how he lives.
You keep
And
speaking of
then,
Brazil. What about
well,
America?
I'm just, well, it's the same in
Yeah, but
America.
then
That's
they
kind of
sell
what
the
I'm
coffee
saying.
beans to like Starbucks, and then that Starbucks is just like profiting like crazy. So this is where like our
It all plays
capitalism.
into each other. So yeah, if you want to say that like it's like one world government, I mean, you kind of could say that because America is the
Nah,
ultimate consumer.
nah,
We
I ain't
got
gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it to him though. Like on some real shit. I ain't gonna do it to him. Cal, bro. I understand the misunderstanding, the mishap that we just had, bro. I understand this is a different moment you probably never experienced. But be honest.
Facts, Lloyd.
What's this?
Be honest. And as I
okay.
said, this is Cal is the and when I come on TikTok, Cal is the safest space I ever been on TikTok.
I appreciate it, man.
He
I'm
allow a
trying to.
space.
Yeah.
Nah, I understand the tension because the crowd we getting right now. Don't look at the numbers. Ignore the numbers. Ignore the numbers.
Yeah, we're
Respect the
trying.
tension.
Yeah,
Respect the tension.
Kyle,
Yeah.
take it back.
Respect the
Okay.
attention. Ignore the
So
numbers.
okay. So
Cal,
like,
Cal, I told you.
what are you doing? All right, you gotta add to the conversation, man. All right, shit. Now I'm completely lost my train of thought. Okay, but yeah. So what
So,
we were
so
talking.
we were talking about the specter of a one world like government
Yeah,
or a one
because
world,
like
and
it's not
what
even
I'm
like
saying is that there's already like this upper shell of people
yeah,
that move around in a different way, that have a
exactly,
different network and have
exactly.
different, huge amounts of clout
Exactly.
economically, right?
And like that's the thing. It's not like some shadowy cabal of people dressed up in hoods all getting together and scheming some shit. No, it's just people who have a lot of money and a lot of influence that are like
Right.
just literally trying to make more money, and whether that involves working with other people up at the top or trying to fucking screw them, like because here's the thing. It's something I thought about. Tell me if you agree with this. Making money is an addiction. It's almost like a high. Like when you get that paycheck, you get a little high.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
You're conditioned. You're conditioned to.
Yeah. Like, cause that's the thing, man. When I see my paycheck coming in my fucking like direct deposit, bro, it's like there's like that little sensation. So like, imagine seeing those numbers hit with fucking millions of dollars every
Yeah.
day. It's high. It's some shit
Right.
that's addicting. Cause there's a point where it's like, yeah, you want to have like a good company that you could like start off and like, build a foundation within a community, be a part of the community or something like that. You're working with the community. Sure, that might start off that way, but then you just get addicted to money, man. That's greed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You just get addicted to making money.
And
Is it addiction to making money, or is it the competition that starts getting like like filling us? Like that spirit of
it seems
competition.
it seems to be that some of these people, it's like it's like you're not doing anything, but you're getting compensated for it because your investments are making the money that they're making, and it's pouring into your coffers. So it's kind of like, hey, just because I'm me, I'm worth all this, right?
I'm
And
Taylor
look at
Swift,
it.
right?
Look at it grow. Well, Taylor Swift probably works pretty hard. I mean, that's kind of grueling stuff to, haul all that stuff around and set it up and sing a few songs but
like she's her own
you know,
roadie. Like she's like
yeah,
setting
That's
it.
not even,
like she's
that's not even
moving the
something to be
speakers
upset
up and
about.
down.
That's not even
What's
something
that?
to be upset about. That's not even something to be upset about. Something to be upset about is like somebody who, for example, had a shit ton of money from like their dad and then just started buying things that started increasing in value. Like,
Uh-huh.
for example, buying property, buying a shit ton of
Uh-huh.
property, real estate started increasing
Sure.
in value. And because they had the capital to work with. So whether
Right.
or not they can screw it over, like they don't give a shit because they just got more money to deal with,
Right.
Are we talking
Right.
about the Trumps here? Trump's father, who was like a well-known like
Yeah,
Jim
Fred
Crow,
Trump.
like Fred
Exactly.
Trump, yeah. There was a song like "My Landlord's Trampling All Over Me." I didn't know that song was like written about Fred Trump. You know, like I was like, oh my
Exactly.
god. And then
Exactly.
his prodigal son Donald is like compared to Fred Trump. Donald's like an angel. You know, like Donald's like not. I hang around with some black people. You know, it's just like, oh, you know, like, but Donald Trump is of the same mind. You know, and you see how that mentality, that ego thinks and acts and behaves when it just like is just left unchecked. When he goes to court for that
Yes.
Eugene Carroll thing, and he's just like, she's not even my type, you know, or even says
Right.
like, you know, like
Right.
like women in my threshold. That's what they
My
want
league.
from us, right? Like that's what
Right,
they expect
right.
from us, and I'm just like, what the heck,
just-
you know, like.
It's just an insane disconnect from like
Yeah,
reality.
I mean-
I guess that's what did it.
Truly.
Is it a disconnect or
It
is
is
it
a
like some
in-
cognitive dissonance?
Yeah.
Is that like a? But when I just heard
No,
that,
cognitive
actually-
dissonance is a little
No,
different. Go
cognitive
ahead.
dissonance would be a little bit different. But like, I think if anyone, I think the number from what he got inherited versus what he made, and I'm sure what he inherited is a complete lie. It has to be more. right?
Small loan of
But
$1 million.
from the number that supposedly, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
there-
it has to
there's-
be way more than that. Small amount of
there-
$1 million is complete crap.
No,
There's no
there's
way
a,
he inherited that much. It had to be
there's
so much
definite
more.
there's definite documentation, and according to his sister and the other siblings in his family,
he has
that
other siblings.
he-
Yeah.
he's got a sister.
I thought he had a brother who's like an
He had a
alcoholic.
brother who committed suicide.
Okay.
But a
Yes.
brother committed suicide, and then he has a sister, and he essentially machinated his father out of the business and grabbed the whole thing. And he needed the support of some of his relatives to do that. I'm remembering this from
Because
an
they're like
article I
board
read.
members. They're like board members, or they needed
They're-
like
They're kind of like that. Like they had to sign off on something. And
Closer to it, but like the
you know,
number.
the point is, you're right. He's got
million paper,
yeah.
So actually, hold on.
right? So it's a million. It's a million on paper or something like that. It's like maybe 3.5 million on paper. What's the number on paper?
His loan
yeah,
that he got from his
well, I thought I heard like Donald Trump like made it on his own by like taking like that little like $1 million and using that to leverage it in like this
Yes.
big deal with the mob. He was like in cahoots with like the mafia, with like Russia. You know, like he was just like making these backdoor deals using like his savvy, the art of the deal, to like take whatever money, find investors,
No,
have
it
them
was-
pay for everything. You know, like Donald
was
Trump was like a
fine.
whiz
but
kid.
I'm just saying
He
from
was-
like
Oh, wait.
a real estate mogul standpoint, or any kind of trader. I mean, like any kind of investor. If you turn whoever's inheritance that we have right now, and you 35x'd it, that's a pretty good return on ratio.
Yeah, I mean, he's not doing too bad, right? Like,
Anyone
but
disagree with that? Am I like wrong here? I
but
mean,
it's
like,
the
maybe
way
that's-
it's the way that he got to that 30 times ratio, right? He was working with some of the most shadiest people who were what? Bootlegging alcohol when like that business went down, you know, like just the people who will make deals with the devil type thing, right? Like
yeah. He had his failures. You guys remember Trump's steak?
Yeah, dude,
He
fucking
had a fucking-
Taj Mahal,
He had a
Trump
fucking
University.
wait, he had like steak,
Yes,
like
Trump
meat,
University.
like oh
Yes,
Yeah.
Trump.
yes. I mean, like, he had his fair share of failures. I'm never one to admit that he didn't, but that's what makes him
A successful failure? He's a success.
Like,
He's
but
a
that's the
very
thing, though, is that,
successful
like,
failure. I don't
for
know
example-
anyone that's like 35x their parents' inheritance.
Yeah, but I mean, like he
So,
uses
yeah.
like Chapter 11. He uses like
Yes.
you know like loopholes in the business world that he knows because of who he is, that he even said
He
he
was
was going to use against the deep state. I know what they
he
do because I've used what they do against them,
right.
right?
That was how
And
he
that's
got
what makes him
because people
genius. I mean, like that's
people
what the
thought
same thing that every single one of Democratic donors does, which he also said in the fucking debate.
but the point is he uses the same mechanisms and worse. He was fined for laundering money through his casino for the Russian mob. He was literally fined for that. That business was for their business practices. And he's got the 34 felonies that everybody seems to forget about so conveniently.
Yeah. No,
And
okay. So like of like money laundering, it, as far as the casino world, I almost guarantee you every single casino money laundering. There's no
Yeah, I
way they
wouldn't
don't.
be surprised, dude. But like that's not a good
Duh,
thing.
like
No,
duh.
it's just
that's
it's
a
not,
little
but
bit
it's a
something wrong with
reality that
America,
we
I
have
would
to
say.
live
Yeah,
in.
there's something wrong with
You're not
America.
saying that
Yeah.
like other casinos don't do the exact same business that Trump's doing. Then we're holding them to an upheld standard that we should not be.
No, but
So you
that
guys,
you're wrong. You're wrong there, Young, because after Trump got caught, the whole like protocol changed, right? Like they started really cracking down on like taxes and stuff like that. So now they went legit. You know, like these mobsters ended up finding a way to kind of work the it's like rappers who like, deal on the streets and sell the albums on the street and then become like Snoop Dogg. And then, like you see, it's just like whatever you have to do to get to where you need to be, that's on you, right? But once you get to where you need to be, like that's where I ask, like, where did you set your like dream that you need to be? Are you shooting for the moon where you're like, I need to be the first trillionaire? Or it's just like, if I can have a job
Where
that allows me to own a house and take care of my family, that's all I need. Like that's
you
where
should know you should
yeah, so like you guys are
people
just
should
saying
be in
it's a lot
people should
of
have that
like,
information. People
yeah,
should
I mean
have
like
the information of what they need in order to do exactly that and what they need to shoot for. And
but do
then
people
the
really
government
know what they
then
need?
the government
And
then the government needs to help them. The government is the operating system in which we live, and the government needs to help them get to that goal. I mean, every single area in the country should have a living wage. It as you go into whatever Whoville, you drive into Whoville, it says population 300, living wage is blah, and every single place should be understood how much it takes to actually live there based on what people want, like a
who
family
is
and
paying
and
for
a
that?
house and so
And
forth.
something else I want to add to that
Who,
is that the government's responsibility should be for protecting us from these companies because they will do whatever they can to make as much money as possible. That means screwing us over, taking advantage of people to make us a whole consumer economy. I mean, we already are, but just to like see us only as consumers. The government has a duty to protect
Right.
us from
we're in
companies
the
that
double bubble, right? We're consumers
that's
and then we're
fine as
taxpayers, right?
long
Like,
as you guys are willing to pay for Whoville.
was that.
If you guys are willing to pay for it, if you guys are willing to pay for Whoville,
I'd be
which
willing to
doesn't
pay.
economically produce, if you guys are still paying for them to do it, then that's fine. But
but
I'm saying that most Americans do not want to pay for Whoville. It's just
I'm not.
if you guys want to lose every Democratic election from this point on, then keep
Right.
on
That's not
saying
what I'm saying.
yeah.
What I'm saying is people should have the information that tells them what to shoot for. When a high school kid graduates, he should know what it is that he has to shoot for in order to have a comfortable living. I mean,
yes,
there
I
there
think
was
that's a financial education issue, and I agree with you on that.
Actually, you
and
said something very fascinating to me because this is where you said, what if we as individual citizens, we like write to the government like our business plan, just being like, hey, I want to solve this problem. And if the government's like,
huh?
hey, yeah, we're good for that. And then they'll like kind of fund you for that. And then that's how you kind of work to, like like that kind of when I say like a one government or a new ordered world type thing. I'm not talking about the elites like forming together to form their own government. I'm talking like as a population of humanity, we all say this is what we're working towards. We're working for population like distribution where like everybody is so like the countries that are like so jam packed like is amazing. Like if you spread out like the highly populated amongst the land, it's a crazy disbursement. But like I said, like some natural disaster could cause all of humanity to have to migrate to like one area and like that. What are we gonna do as a humanity if that happens?
Well, that's a pretty big problem.
Chaplain, if something like that happens, then yeah, I mean, all my political talking points are kind of off base. Like, we'll be completely crap until that.
What if everybody?
I don't know.
Hold on, AP, I have a question for you. So you don't want to pay for you don't want to pay for the well-being of people in a smaller, poor community. I get that. What if you had the ability to choose where your taxes go? What your taxes go?
What would my ideal tax system be? Is what you're asking?
I'm just saying. I think that would be a good idea.
There are famous charts. There are famous charts where you have a pie chart, and it shows this much money of your tax dollar, this many cents goes to defense, and this many cents goes to education. And how would you divide up that tax dollar in that way?
13.
What's the biggest slice of the pie?
13, 8, and 7.
Keep it. Can I get a slice of the keep it?
I'm actually really curious about this answer.
Yeah,
That's
so
a good
13, 8, and 7. Right? So 13 of all US dollars being spent towards government defense. I do think the man that holds the gun makes the rules. Right?
The man that holds the gun makes the rules? Is that what you're
Yeah, I
saying?
mean, if you guys want to argue with that, we can argue with it all day long. I'll lay my plan first, but yeah, I think the guy that holds the gun makes the rules.
Interesting.
So, if the majority of Americans don't, like I'm saying that you have a choice in where your taxes go. So if you don't want to spend it on defense, you don't have to. If you don't want to spend it on poor communities, you don't have to. If you don't want to spend it on education, you don't have to. If you want to give it to government subsidies for, massive corporations, or you want to give it to the defense, our defense industry.
Yeah, so I think 13, 8, and 7. That's the max that anyone should pay.
$13.80.
No, 13%.
Of their annual wage, of their annual net.
Yeah, let's just say for the point of trying to land my plane here, everyone's working a W-2.
So you're talking like a flat tax, 13% for everybody.
No, it would vary on wage because I think that people that are of lower wage have to live still, and they would have to pay less than people that are making a higher wage.
Oh, wow, we agree with that. Awesome.
Yeah, so everyone agrees with that. Everyone does. I think that everyone that studies economics.
Well, everybody
agrees with
except
that.
the higher class.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we get to that later, right? But let's not dive into that deep right now. Okay, let's just.
That's a good thing to dive into.
Because someone asked me a question, I'm just trying to answer it without getting that deep. Okay.
But that's a good thing to get deep into.
Yeah, this is the thought. This is the stuff that we need to answer as Americans.
Okay, so let's just dive into that. 13% maximum annual defense of tax. That's what my absolute max would be, and I would like anyone to debate me on it. I think that's the max that anyone should pay.
Wait, what was
that?
Okay. So then, what's the minimum?
13 cents across the board. You're saying
13%. 13%.
13%. What I'm saying.
State tax?
What I'm saying.
Federal?
13%. So out of every
Federal?
dollar.
Federal tax, federal tax.
13% federal. Flat tax.
So no state tax? No state taxes?
No, you see, this is where we're getting into the weeds of it. So if you want me to get into that, right? I think the max that anyone, and this is why it's a tough thing to say, hey, let's pinpoint it on it, which, Kyle did, so I'll answer it. but I'm saying that the max that anyone should pay relative to how much they're making, because if you're not making enough to, pay for that, you're living on $15 an hour
I
as a
think
high school kid, you probably shouldn't be paying 13%, which I hope everyone here would agree with, right?
Or anybody under a certain tax bracket.
I think yeah,
Well,
I
no,
think
it's
that's
not,
the
okay. So
thing.
Nova, this is
You
where I'm
should
going to
not
get
be
hot here
taxed
because
if
that's
you are.
complete crap. If you're a 40-year-old working at Walmart and you've lived 40 years of life and you haven't developed a higher skill, I think it's complete crap that you should be making more than what you are right now.
Why?
If
Because
it,
you as an individual, as you live your life when you get older, are responsible for the decisions and the outcome of your life.
That doesn't matter to you.
So
No, it matters to everyone.
being a realtor
Everyone
is a
here.
better decision in
No,
the
that doesn't
future,
matter.
right? Because
Yes.
what happens?
Then
What
a
happens
Walmart
if that
worker
that power shifts?
100% with absolute conviction.
You're now turning
Yes.
back into like the trickle down economics where you're like, well, no, a 40-year-old who
Okay,
works
so
at a
Nova,
job that is
let
not
me ask you,
Well,
how
why
old are you?
should there
talking.
be?
Nova, how old are you?
Still
Nova,
not
how
done
old are you?
Tone it
No.
Nova,
down.
how old are you? Nova, how
Calm
old are
down.
you?
1 second. So it doesn't
I will
really
calm down when I'm
you're
ready. How old are you?
Oh, I'm still talking, which is crazy. So what you're saying is that like if you were X age, like let's say like you said 40, and working in a class of job that you think is of a different age, then they should pay a higher tax because it's crazy that they have not made more of themselves. And you also realize that the world does
You're
have
not
to keep
answering the
going
question. You're
on.
answering it live
Nope,
right now.
still
She doesn't even know
talking,
how old she
still
is.
talking. The world
Yep,
still
you
has
see,
the
you're seeing
world.
it live right now.
AP,
The
let her
world,
finish.
the world still has to keep going on, regardless of like how you think or what you would want to live in your ambition. That some people just like don't have that ability, and that they shouldn't be penalized because they didn't have the ambition of somebody who has like a maybe a little bit more privilege than them, or just like maybe a bit more ambition than them, and maybe they just want to work at Walmart and fucking live their life and do what they fucking want to do and like have a good time and like love their
Survive.
Yeah, you want to pay for
person
that?
and
I mean,
like
hey,
your
fucking go
your
off.
pur-
So
your
you're already
pursuit of
paying for it.
happiness is how you pursue it.
Exactly. And they
okay.
should not pay more taxes based off of your fucking ambition.
I just agreed with that if you actually listen to me.
Sure, but you weren't listening to me, bud.
No, I wasn't because what you're spewing is BS.
Okay, hold on. Okay,
No,
AP,
just to do it,
Phil,
you dumb idiot.
AP.
Yeah, you see, because you're not even listening to me. I mean, like, this is what my whole point is.
All right,
You're
stop fucking
such
getting
a
heated.
fucking idiot.
AP, explain your point.
Okay. Like I just said earlier when Kyle asked me what should the government defense bill be, I said it should
That's
be
not what I
13%.
asked.
What'd you ask, Kyle?
I asked if you think that a tax system where we get to choose where we put our tax dollars, where would you put your money? Your money, not everybody's money, your money.
13% towards government spending.
So this is your money.
Yes, 13%.
Okay, but not everybody's money. If other people choose to spend their money in different areas, like education or like, just kids, fucking, I don't know, homelessness or whatever.
What was
they
the
can
first
do it.
thing?
Then people can pay their money
Wait,
towards
what was
0%.
he said?
What did he say? 13 cents for what?
13 cents on the dollar, 13%.
Okay,
For what?
so that's how much you would pay for the military. Okay, so now get to your broader point.
Yeah.
What do you?
Okay, so back to what I was saying earlier, right? And just to address all the points I was just made, I'm fine if someone wants to live their life working at Walmart. The problem is that someone should not subsidize that. You want to
Great, it
live
wasn't
in a
up to you anyway.
reality where
Hold on, don't cut
no,
off,
I
Nova.
wasn't fucking talking to you.
Okay, dude, don't get fucking hostile. All right, shut
Yeah,
the
I
fuck
just
up.
don't like people cut me off. It's kind of rude. It's
No, but you
irrespectful.
cut her off too. All right, so just fucking make your point. Nova, don't
All
cut
right,
him
there
off.
we go.
Make
I'll
your
make my
point.
point. I think that the point is this. There's skilled jobs and there's non-skilled jobs. You should not be paid more for a skilled, or you should be paid more for a skilled job than there is a non-skilled job. And that's just the reality of the world.
Okay, but here's the thing though. It's not like sure. All right. Well, I understand it's like yes, you should be able to get paid more for a skilled job, but we're talking about people that genuinely just want to survive. Like, because yeah, you don't need, because there's other jobs. There's jobs that are needed within our economy that is not skilled labor. Those people have the right to fucking live. Like, you know, to
Yeah.
actually have a family. And it's like,
If they work 40 hours a week, they should be able to live, and they should be able to live relatively comfortably
And
without.
yeah, like you're saying, utensil, a livable wage, a family wage, and like a normal livable wage. The fact that like it doesn't really
And the
the
livable wage should be government certified, such that if you make the livable wage, then you get to keep all of that money, and if you have something above the livable wage, then you are taxed on that. And that's where you get the flat tax for everybody, including the billionaires who are making so much
tyranny is
above their
behind.
liberal living wage that they're making a lot of money and they can pay a lot of taxes, and it doesn't hurt
Yeah.
them because they're making such a nice wage that
yeah.
that they're in, they're golden. So why are they
Yeah.
complaining?
No,
Why
what
why
were
are
you
they
saying?
hijacking our government?
With a flat tax,
See,
Hold
so a
on.
flat
Let
tax
know
doesn't
what.
work. I mean,
Hold on.
like
Hold on.
anyone that's
utensil,
making
utensil, really quickly.
Hold
Utensil,
on.
Pyrenees unite, baby. Pyrenees unite.
Oh, you like? Huh? I have two. They're
My
beautiful.
baby. I have one. She came up. We rescued her, but yeah.
But okay, so wait, hold on. So you agree with the? So you're saying a flat tax? Like
does not
after
work.
What I'm saying is a
Not
flat
work.
tax, a flat tax, and I was thinking 15% flat tax across the board,
Okay.
no complaining, above and you're taxed only if you're making more than your living wage. So if
Right.
you're a
So you,
single person, there should be a government certified living wage for your region that says
I like that.
if you make this much money, you don't get taxed because you're just barely getting by.
yeah.
I
And
like
then
that.
and that's kind of the way it works now. But the
So
poverty
like
line is so
under like
low.
30K, right?
So you
Like
just wanna
anybody who
change
makes
Why
under
are you
30K.
yelling, Chaplain?
I'm sorry. I'm
You're
sorry.
Well,
yelling.
how much do you have to make, like, to rent one of your apartments?
But
How much
high,
does
I
the
do think
person
it
have
should
to
be a
make?
lot higher. I do think
Yeah.
it should be a lot higher for like, for example, for like WIC or food stamps or like a lot of different governmental help is so
Right.
fucking low. Like when I when I had my baby back in 2020, like I mean, I qualified because I wasn't working, and my husband was working, but anyway, it was like $9,000 a year, and anything more, but because it was just me and I wasn't working, I was like, dope, we can do this.
Are
Nine
you talking about to raise a kid?
$1,000 a year
How are you going to live on
in
that?
Oregon. If they made anything more, they can't. And if they made any more, they didn't qualify for anything, any government assistance.
So the point
It
would
was
be that
garbage.
somebody should evaluate what it costs to live in all of these places in the country, and recognize that some places cost more, and because some places cost more and some places cost less, then that the tax would be kind of a floating tax based on that living wage.
Mm-hmm.
And the government would reassess it every once in a while and say, okay, now the living wage here in Oregon has gone up, so that means that people who are making this much now can
But it should be pretty
can
high. I would say,
live tax
what
free.
would you say? Like what, 50?
Well,
50?
in the Washington D.C. area,
In Oregon, that's pretty low.
I mean, in the Washington D.C. area, the poverty line is 45K.
Yeah, ours would be.
That's what it's
Yeah,
recognized
so
as.
yeah, so like
Which is if you make 45K, you are poor.
Like
And
poverty class, or like
Well,
okay,
hold
like
on,
doing
wait.
okay.
I can fix this problem right now.
I
Nova,
can't.
everyone else here in the chat, we have a solution right here, right now. If you
Fucking
guys
hate
really
when white men
truly
do this.
believe this, you know what you want to do? How about you guys continue to work 40 to 50 hours a week and take all your earnings and donate half of it to charity? There you go. Problem solved. Everyone do
That's
it.
a problem. I don't know how that solves a problem.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
question
what
for
I'm
you,
saying?
Young,
If
is
you
like,
guys do it,
what?
believe this and apply it. Yeah, I think it's complete crap.
How does that not
everyone does
solve?
it.
Okay, look.
You can get a paycheck, go and give it away, help somebody out.
Right?
But if
Yep.
everybody in
But
Whoville
everyone
wants to live in a
should
mansion with
hustle
the
their
Rolls
butt
Royce,
off
that's gonna be a
and
problem,
let's all
right?
donate it
We're
to
all paying
charity.
for it.
Let's all do it. Let's get behind
Young,
it.
can I ask you a question? Like for you, like what do you consider a skill job? Like for you as a realtor, is that a skill job?
It takes something that above 50% of people cannot do. So yeah, me subdividing land, I don't think many people can go to the county and do that.
Really? I mean,
Yeah, I really don't. I think that if you're just being a residential real estate salesman,
Buddy, it's just a
I think it's below
certification.
50%.
It's
But
literally
I
just
don't
a
think anyone
certification.
that knows how to subdivide
Not
land,
tough.
maybe Nova can introduce me to
Nova,
something that
have
I
you
don't
done it
know because he
before?
clearly
What's
knows a
that
lot.
classic
Hey Nova,
game where
how
you
about you
build a
educate
city?
us? How do you subdivide land? Go ahead, Nova. Educate us. Enlighten us with your
you
wisdom,
own the
Nova.
land. You own the land, and then you say, I want to subdivide it like this.
So is it like you have to have a certain amount of frontage? Chaplain, you know what frontage is? You have to know because you know real estate.
I mean, I have an agent.
Here to know this.
Hold on.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Hey, Nova, how about this? Because you know so much. What does that mean? Go ahead. Educate us and enlighten us with your wisdom.
What does what mean? You didn't.
No, yeah, I
say
don't know.
anything.
I don't know what you're
Exactly.
talking about.
Frontage.
Hold on.
Okay, so let me educate everyone here. So
Oh
frontage
wow, what a
is
guy.
the amount
Anyway,
of
the point is that
logical
like you just have to
system
get a
that comes up
certification
with Nova's not even
This
gonna
is
let me answer
fucking.
the question because she knows to just
because
shut
you're
her
an
the
idiot.
fuck up.
You have to
Hold
get
on.
a real
Okay.
estate license and a certification through the state. It's not that tough. Anyway, tough guy.
How
Nova,
about you
how
What were you
Google
gonna
me?
say?
Google me. Josh Purdy.
Nova, how
Anyway,
long have you
okay.
been a
Google
real
me.
estate agent?
Oh, I don't need to be a real
Yeah,
estate agent
she
to
does.
understand what like has to
So you
happen.
don't know what it actually
She
takes
doesn't
Sure,
as
know
I
what
far
don't.
as
frontage is. She
footwork
doesn't know
and the
anything
effort,
Because
about
right?
real
So
estate.
do I not
it's
know
hard
what
to
it
put
has
yourself in
to
those kind
take
of
to be a
shoes.
real estate agent?
Nova,
Sure,
no, you
it's just a
shut
Well,
fucking Jesus Christ. To be a
Nova,
real estate.
shut everyone up right now.
So, yeah. Okay. Okay.
Also,
You
don't
guys are all
fucking.
fucking. Stop. Nova, dude. Okay, you guys are all fucking talking over each other. Young, what is the point that you were trying to make? The broad point.
Okay, so the broad point is that someone asked me what a skill position is. It's above what
Host.
50% of the people of the population can do. Yeah, you see, Nova's gonna cut me off again. That's fine.
No, I was just mentioning
Okay,
that
go ahead.
host said
Enlighten us,
that.
Nova. What are you gonna say?
Okay, Young, stop fucking. Okay. Don't pay attention to her. Finish what you were saying. You also need to get a better mic because, like, you get talked over very easily because your mic is quiet. Okay, what were you going to say?
As far as skill positions, which is what someone just asked me, you have to be above the top 50% in something that someone else cannot do. It has to be a skill position.
Okay. So then what with a skill position, what are you saying? Like what kind of advantages should they have? What do you
So if someone can do something that a majority of the population cannot do, that is considered something that is valuable in the marketplace.
Okay. So what is
you cannot get paid off of that?
I mean, if I'm tracking Kyle, I asked him that question, so he's telling me, for him, his definition of a skill job is somebody who can do a job that 50% of the population cannot do. Right? They try, and it's just like I don't know, it's like making a rocket ship or something like that. Then I asked him, so as a realtor, subsidizing all these things, that is a skill by his definition and his belief. But to me, a skill is something that you have to like being a mechanic, or being a plumber, being a trash man, a janitor, or something like that. These are like skills. You have a talent that you ended up, like having an opportunity, and you used your
Like
talent.
my husband is a tile. Like my husband is a tile contractor. Yeah.
Okay. So, like I was going back earlier, if you guys are working with skilled realtors, He's got to remember, 90% of realtors don't actually close a deal a year.
What if all of us like formed a union against realtors in general? We said we don't want any realtors anymore. We don't want these middlemen. Then what would you do? What would you do then, Young?
I'd be completely screwed. And
Right.
you guys would
You'd be
always
at Walmart and we'd be like, "Hey, guy, go get me that projector I told you to get in the back."
Yeah, but Chaplain, I mean, like, and then like,
No, you
it,
probably
I
would
would
have
buy
lived
yourself
about
out
them, yeah.
because you don't know what an appraisal amount is. You
What?
see,
What did
yeah,
you
I
say?
would completely screw you on the deal.
There's also people that appraise
residential
things
real
outside
estate
of you.
deal.
No, but
I
what were
didn't-
you saying?
Because I touch
It's
on
also like,
average
okay.
20
Hold
deals
on.
a year.
Ask Nova. AP. I've let you talk a lot. I've asked Nova. What were you saying?
There's also people that do come out and appraise homes that are not specialized real estate agents, that are just appraisal agents that like will come in and appraise your home and help you sell your home by owner. So like it's not completely needed to have a real estate agent as long as you have like a inspector. And honestly, an inspector isn't totally needed unless you like I mean, like you want to have an inspector just to make sure that you can get the best dollar for your house, but like you just come and get an appraisal and go from there. Like, and also contractors work best with that as well. Like, just come through that. Like, it's not that tough. And also, realtors, it's not that tough to be a realtor. It is like there's a licensing, and then you like ideally get with a company, and then you do some like
Rather than trying to
Oh, I'm
attack this young man's
okay. I'm not trying to
profession as
attack
being
his
skilled or
profession.
not.
I'm just
I'm
saying
not. I'm
I'm not
not.
saying
I'm
it's
not
not
saying.
skilled. I'm not saying
I'm
it's
not
not
saying.
skilled. I'm just saying that it's
Okay.
not hard.
Right. Okay.
He's saying
So
it's hard. I'm not
well,
saying
you
it's not.
he does.
You guys are misconstruing what it takes because getting a real estate license
Okay,
using a foot in the
okay.
door, like I was saying earlier, 90% of real estate agents you guys tracked from 2025 to this current date have not closed the deal.
Average intelligence means that half the people are below average. You got that right? So
Yeah, I completely agree.
that's
Yep.
just the way it is. That's the way the bell curve is. And there are capabilities that people have at various levels, and those capabilities are what they have. And sometimes misery befalls them. Sometimes they get a head injury and
We don't like
they
that.
lose capacity. Sometimes they get cancer and they lose capacity and they end up sitting in a chair and saying hello to you at Walmart. That doesn't mean that they have any less of a right to their life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And
Correct.
their pursuit
let
of
me ask you
happiness
guys
Fucking
this.
go off.
is
Go off.
what they can do.
Okay.
And that's
So
why we
For
do have some
example,
social
for
media.
example,
else
no.
here
I'm gonna speak for one second.
to go ahead
I'm
and
gonna
donate 50%
speak
of
for
their
1
paycheck
second.
to charity.
Just to piggyback off of utensil. Nope, still speaking is crazy. So, utensil. Just that you brought up a TBI is wild because my dad had a very crazy TBI, fell down the stairs 2 days before my sister's wedding about 6 years ago, and he's never been completely the same since, but he's been much better in other ways. Completely changed his
Yeah.
personality, not totally, but he's doing fucking great. And I think that I lost my point. I don't remember why I brought that up, but he's doing great. And
Well, you know somebody who fits the profile of what I was talking about,
yes,
and that again, was that his fault? I mean, could you say it was his
of course.
fault that he was I mean,
No, it's not.
how far are you going to go to pillory people in order to say that they're not worth something? So I think that's really not the way to look at it. Now it could be that people had potential that they didn't fulfill for whatever reason. I mean, there are decisions you make every day, and I think what you said earlier about decisions being, adding up to the culmination of your life is true. But people decide to do things for different reasons other than just accruing wealth and money. And in reality, the pursuit of happiness is much more than just pursuing material wealth.
Exactly.
It's being able to practice your religion. It's being able to enjoy art. It's being able to enjoy music. It's all the things that are there for us to enjoy as humans.
I feel
So,
like some of the
I
angriest
mean,
people are some of the wealthiest. You know?
hmm
Like,
Pay for that person's right of happiness? Should you pay for that?
what's that?
So everyone's saying that everyone has the right to be happy and pursue their happiness. How many of you guys are donating enough to actually make that happen? Have you guys
have you
donated?
ever read the Declaration of Independence? The
No,
whole "We the
I'm
People"
saying that
thing.
like put it into practicality. Like if you believe in this wholeheartedly,
Yes,
then go
we
ahead and
do.
donate.
We the people
Go
do.
ahead and donate half your paycheck.
It is our
Okay,
founding
stop.
principle.
Yeah, this is the government. This is the Bill of Rights.
Like-
This is something that the government should be able to ensure. This is a right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. This is something that the government is bound to pursue by the Bill of Rights. And the fact that they're not doing that is a disgrace to the founding of our fucking country.
So you
Well,
should.
no,
you
it's
should-
the
are you
pursuit of
paying for it?
happiness,
Are you
not
paying
the
for it?
giving you happiness.
No.
It's you have your own choice to do it. You have your own ways to do it.
Right.
That doesn't mean
He
the
said the
government
pursuit of
provides you.
happiness.
That's
There
exactly
is a-
You're happy. You're happy in the pursuit of happiness. Yeah, I mean it's like
No,
you
the
have a
pursuit
goal.
of happiness.
life and liberty. I feel like should be
Right.
some
He's
of the biggest
pursuing
things that
happiness.
exist.
Are you guys actually fucking idiots? It's the
It's the
pursuit of
pursuit,
happiness.
the
What are you
guarantee.
talking about?
Well, yeah, but if everybody wants a mansion or Rolls Royce, there's not going to be a pursuit of happiness
Come
for
on,
anybody.
get all
That's
the
just the way it's going to work.
That's not
Buddy, that's
necessarily
And I'm not
everybody's.
against social nets
That's
either.
pursuit.
I'm not against
That's your
helping
pursuit.
somebody out.
That is your pursuit
And
of
not to be
happiness.
mean, Nova, but
That's
we've all had really like cordial conversation here for a while, and you jumped in and you're kind of being nasty. I'm not trying to be mean by that, but there's no reason we can't talk like civil people. But
Okay,
besides
here's
that
the thing.
point,
Nothing rude.
It's literally
besides
just
that
people
point,
hold on.
I have not said a single
It
thing
is-
rude. Sounds like you're
is
I've
just-
been listening to everyone, and
No, but that's what you're doing wrong.
Okay. It is the cutting off. It is the cutting off. Do not fucking cut people off. Like Nova, I agree with you on a lot of things, but do not cut people off. Okay, that's it. And Moto, I like because it's just the cutting off. Just do not cut each other off, and then it'll seem like a much more cordial conversation.
Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to you. And it's
Everybody,
like, listen to
everybody
me.
here. Like it's a
Most
message
of
for
you
all of
hate
us. Like
It's literally just listen to other people while they're talking.
I just get frustrated because like I get talked over so frequently, especially in like a
yes.
especially in a male dominated panel. And so that when I get said like, oh, you're being a bitch or you're the one that's like talking over, I'm like, well, fuck, I never get to talk. So it's like
I know.
very frustrating. But I will mute and you guys go off.
Okay, so that's the thing is like because AP absolutely talked over you a shit ton, and that ain't cool. So I'm saying like the retaliation should not be to try to talk over him again. I'll try to do better to let people have equal speaking time, but it's just the talking over people gets nothing done because then it just turns into an argument where you hear a little part of it and you just get like fucking I don't know because everybody does that. Doesn't matter what fucking side you're on. You just go on the defensive, but.
we all get gaslit. We all kind of get triggered, right? But we have to like be like as ourselves. It's self-evident that like we are the ones who are in control of our choices. So I really try to make it a thing where if I get interrupted or somebody says something in the mid thing, I just stop. Like I have to train myself because that was my pursuit of happiness. I wasn't happy when I felt like I was being talked over, but then I didn't feel very happy when I was talking over everybody. So it's just like, it's a constant pursuit, right? But today, the pursuit of happiness is just like, well, if I want to be a woman or whatever, this thing, that could be, they're right. But now these lines have blurred where now we're changing semantics and like arguing over the basic rights that we have. Life is now a matter of the unborn. Versus like all of us who are breathing, like that's where I kind of get offended, where it's just like, are we saying like an unborn like baby is more like more important than us living, breathing human beings? Like, does that make sense? Like, that's how I kind of thought about like the Christian like approach to like that movement, where I told Charlie Kirk, like I can concede that all human life begins at conception. And any kind of professional or scientist who says otherwise, they're corrupt. They got something in their pocket. But when we talk about like, does that life in the womb have the rights that we have? I would have to say no, because we get those rights when we become a living, breathing human being. And then hopefully we are living and breathing on American soil to get these rights that we hold. You know, like that's where the lines cross, like get blurred. But they don't want to argue that thing because it's all smoke and mirrors. That's what bothers me about politics. It's just, it's a rocking chair. It's just, it's something to do, but it doesn't get us anywhere. You know, like
something. Yeah. And here's the thing, though, is that I don't know. I feel like if people were really pro-life and really cared about like the abortion issue, then they would be kind of pushing more towards like contraceptives and making sure those are not contraceptives. I think that's like right word. Basically like preventative measures and just like what is it? Yeah, birth control. Yeah. Okay. So I guess I haven't talked about abortion until like the actual election time. That has not been brought up in forever. That's the thing. It's like the political landscape is so fucking changing because it's just something for people to get mad about. Like abortion was absolutely something for people to get fired off about, to where it's like Charlie Kirk would be calling it a G-side, and it's like it's just meant to fire you up. To where it's like if they actually cared about this issue, they would make contraceptives significantly easier to access for lower income people. You know?
Right.
Because
And they would be trained. You would be conditioned through education to actually utilize it, and that would be the way that you live. Yeah.
But okay, so on that premise, don't you think like the better like discussion would be like talking about like, hey, if you have an unplanned pregnancy, there's plan B, right? Like there's plan C, contraceptives, plan B, which is like the pill, and then hopefully if none of that works and you got to go to plan A, then hey, whatever it is, you know, like, but to call it like murder, just saying like that is like murder, and then calling the Second Amendment right as self-defense, like our God-given right. That was where the hypocrisy just really irked me. You know, where, you know, as a man of faith, that's what bothers me when people use like faith to disguise their corrupt intention. And maybe it's not corrupt, but they just fall into that trap where it's just like, man, I cleared $300K last year. Wow, this year I got to make like
sheep.
Just you set the bar high.
Wolf's clothing.
right. You were a sheep, you become a goat, and then you become the wolf in the, you know, like everybody wants to be a goat these days, you know, like you're the goat. Like
that's the thing, is like just about every major religion pretty much condemned getting gross amounts of wealth. Like pretty much every major religion. So if you see anybody who is rich off of their religion, then that's kind of contradictory. You know?
Well, I mean, I heard Trump, like his pastor was like this woman who was like known to be like a prosperity pastor. So there was like this like generation of like shepherds who were teaching like their flock, like you believe in Christ, you'll have all the riches and all the success and all this stuff like that, you know. And this is just my own personal theory.
Paula
White, right. And so this is where Donald Trump, when you ask him, just like, have you ever asked God for forgiveness? He's like, well, you know what? I've just never thought like I'd had to ask for forgiveness or anything. And I'm just like, yeah, that registers. That tracks. That tracks. What's that?
It's like God. No, me and God are best friends. Me and God, like we're no. Me and God, we've talked constantly. We've talked. I can't do it. I cannot.
That's a Trump. That's a Trump quote. Just like. Well, I talk to God every day.
We talked. I can't do it. My husband's best friend can do it so well. He's like, oh, I cannot do his voice, but it's very funny. Like he would do like, oh no, me and I'd have to sound Jersey. I don't know what to do. Anyway.
It's a Jersey thing, you know. It's a Jersey thing.
Like me and God talk to Jazzy and like, yeah, I can't do it. Anyway.
So
no, it's very frustrating. Okay, there we go.
Young AP, because you're saying a lot in the comments here. What do you mean by any Lutheran church who disagree with you guys? Just
any non-denominational church would disagree with you guys on what you're saying, right?
That's not true.
Okay. So
On what
elaborate.
point? On which point?
Hold on. Okay, let him elaborate first before you interject.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
What do you
interesting.
So
mean?
any non-denominational church, which means any church that does not hand around the basket on Sunday, would disagree
Okay.
with what you guys are saying right now.
In
Which
what
is
sense?
that the church is making profit, which is that the church is making profit off of those that don't believe with his beliefs.
Do you
Tithings,
realize
right?
that wait, 1 second, Chaplin. Do you realize that your audio is so shitty that we can't even understand like what you're saying genuinely? So like
It
maybe
sounds like you've got a cloth over your head.
Yeah, I
Like
didn't want
really
to go like
muffled.
this to hear you.
can you do anything better to like make it better?
Okay.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna mute you.
go off.
Yeah, he's
Go off,
he's
Chaplin.
going.
Go off, Chaplin. Go off. Thought you were gonna make a beat.
I forgot where I was going. So sorry about that, Nova. Thank you.
Okay, it's okay. Anyway, young AP, did
Any
you?
Lutheran church, he wrote, any Lutheran church would disagree with you guys.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
That's a
It doesn't
Lutheran.
matter what like, because that's the thing. It's like Jesus. Like one of my favorite Jesus quotes is that it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom
And
of
also,
heaven.
that's Lutheran. Who cares?
Oh.
But you know what? Like the like pro abundant life, like lobbyists say. Didn't Jesus say, "Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and give to God what is God"? Therefore, if we do discipleship work, we are doing God's work, and we don't have to pay taxes. That's where I'm like listening to these like CEOs just doing this like presentation like they're slick. I'm like, CareNet, like this guy pro abundant life is going, yeah. Oh, this guy is just evil. You know, just evil. Just like we've distributed over $6 million of free literature to you know, I'm just like, what? None of those figures like make sense. You know, like they can just hoard whatever money and then it's all under the table. They are like the new mobsters, and that's the irony is that a lot of these pastors end up finding Christ like while they're locked up and they're just like in their Jesus moment. And then they come out and they're just like, Jesus save me.
How does this sound? Did you guys hear me
Or like
better?
I snorted enough that I found Jesus.
Young AP,
right?
Try talking again.
You're good. I got it.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me better now? Am I not talking about
That's
potato
much. That's
anymore?
much
No,
better.
you sound great.
Fantastic.
Yay.
Yeah. Like what I was saying earlier, I really don't think that you guys are basing this off of like. It depends on what kind of church you guys go to, right? Like anything can
I'm
be
just basing
different.
off of what Jesus says.
Okay, so you guys basing it on the New Testament, right? That's what you have to be basing it off of, right?
Yeah.
You're talking to one person.
Okay. So
Yeah, you're just
What-
talking to me.
okay, so between me and Kyle right here, right?
You and Cal.
What are you basing
Cal, the
Jesus'
young
word off
AP.
of where you think that he's going to make a profit off of you?
Wait, hold on. Say that again.
Because the last time that I checked, Jesus actually got mad for the church making a profit off of people, and actually, you know, that's the only time that he got mad.
He flips over the tables,
what
right?
he got-
He
Yes,
What he got-
I mean, like, am I wrong here? I think this is
What-
completely
it's-
like based on if you guys
there's a
actually
nu-
read the New
there's-
Testament.
There's
So,
a
I mean,
nuance
like,
to it.
Unless I'm missing something.
Wait.
There's
Stop
a
talking
nuance
over
to
AP.
it.
Okay,
Hold on.
I'm open.
Wait. Okay. Hold on. Okay, AP. So what you were saying is that, like, Jesus says that it is wrong to use the church to make a profit, and it is wrong to like accumulate wealth in the name of God. Is that what you were saying?
Yes, and I
Okay, so that's I don't know like how a Lutheran church would disagree with it, because that's what I've been saying is that like I
because
feel
most
like you're not
of Lutheran
listening.
churches are non-denominational. I would
Okay,
say
so
over
do they make a
80%.
profit?
No, non-denominational means they do not hand the basket around during Sundays.
Okay.
They are not. They do not ask for your money, and that's an 80%.
That is not true.
That's
Okay,
not
so
what
go ahead and Google me and
non-denominational
That's not
means.
Put
Though.
something in the chat. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just the chat that I go. Maybe it's just the
You're
church I go
definitely
to.
wrong. If you're talking about Lutheran churches, you're definitely fucking wrong.
Lutheran
churches
is a
advocate-
denomination.
Lutheran churches
Epis-
definitely follow the. No, you're wrong.
Yeah.
no.
Okay. Hold on.
A
AP,
denomination is like
I
a
know what a
church.
denomination is. Thank you.
Yeah,
he's trying
it's
to
a
explain
church
this to AP.
organization. So Episcopal, Roman Catholic,
Yes.
Lutheran, Baptist,
Orthodox.
those are all denominations.
But
Orthodox Baptist,
what he was saying is that like Lutheran did not pass the little commune thing around to like put money in, and Lutheran certainly do.
Yeah.
Hmm.
AP, I just
Okay,
don't
so
understand
what
your
do
point.
those collections go to though? Like to help the people in the congregation, or to get a new Jesus statue for the
Okay,
front of the?
let me change
Well,
the base
all
of
of
the
that.
argument here, right? So you guys saying that you agree with the church?
you say
as
that you're
long as
wrong?
It doesn't ask for
Can you
money.
say that you're
Yeah,
wrong?
Nova,
Hold
Nova,
on.
go ahead. I'll
Hold
say
on.
I'm wrong, Nova. You got it. Congratulations on your points. Let's just argue on the New Testament here. Let's argue on Scripture. Does anyone here disagree with the fact that any church that does not ask for money is a good thing or a bad thing? Like, what do you guys think about that? Just on the New Testament alone.
Like, are you saying it doesn't ask like whether or not it's a good or bad thing? Yeah, it could be.
Okay,
I mean,
so
like, what are you guys
I'm sure it's a
arguing?
good
I'm
thing
confused
if
on what
it's
you guys are
focused.
arguing here. So, any kind of church that, okay, ask for money is a bad thing. I mean,
That's not what I'm saying, though. It's just how
I
they
think
use that money, whether it's to enrich themselves or if it's to help out the community in the church.
right.
Like,
That
it's
there
nothing to do with
there
the
are
money.
like
what you're
the
saying.
televangelists.
Yeah.
They have like TV production studios. That's where they put their money. And the idea is that you are a fallback for people who don't have anything because they're down on their luck or whatever reason, and those are the people that the charity is for, and that charity is a Christian value, and that's what they should be doing with the money, not buying corporate jets and you know
Yeah,
$400
that's
suits.
not.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
probably
that's
all
not
agree
how
on
it
that.
works. So.
Yeah,
I think
that's
everyone
what I'm
agrees
saying.
on
Is that we
that.
all
So, what
But
I'm
I mean,
saying is that for any church that doesn't ask you for money, would you, and you got in your own eyes, would you believe that to be a bad thing?
No, what?
It's not bad.
Okay.
What do you
It's
mean?
bad.
We don't know what you're talking about. I feel like you're not listening to us. Like, I feel like this has been happening like a lot throughout the conversation.
Yeah.
So it's just money. It's just people that go around asking for basket on Sunday.
No, it's people.
What are you
You're not
talking about?
listening.
That's not
That
it.
then put all the money in the preacher's pocket. That's what you're saying.
Oh,
Scott.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me see if I can help you here, Young. If I go to church and that church is a church that all like every sermon passes around that basket, which in today's times I'd be like, I got a credit card. You know, oh, it's all right. I got credit
Yeah.
card swipers, right? Like
Today,
whatever. It's
when we're
expected
babies.
that everybody who comes to that church has to pay a tithing, right? That's one kind of church. Then there's other churches where you walk in and they don't ask for money. If you want to donate, you can, but they don't like force it on you or like put that coercion in your mind, right? So here's like the different end of the spectrum. Now, with that story about Jesus getting upset and flipping the tables in the church, he was upset because it was the synagogues that were supposed to be using all this money that they're counting out in front of them to help all the people that Jesus was healing. You know, like all the
Hold on. There's a
No.
nuance that's kind of
No.
interesting about this. Listen, please. The reason that the money changers were at the temple was because the temple has its own currency. The temple would not accept pagan Roman currency for offerings. So people were coming and buying offerings like 2 turtle doves or a rabbit or whatever to be offered as part of the service. And that's what was
That's a
being
cool
sold.
dog.
That's what was being sold. So what they were buying it with was the temple money. However, you had to change your money.
That is
The Roman
dirty.
pagan, yes, that's dirty, into the clean temple money. to buy the clean, unblemished sacrifice.
So
right?
money laundering
And
in its
that's-
infancy.
But exactly. Well, that pagan Roman currency went somewhere,
No.
right?
Right.
So
No.
a conversion, right? Like
That
that's
was-
that's
that was how it
Caesar's.
all worked.
You give that to Caesar, but we only take like gold or like something
that-
else. Like
that never
the
makes
people.
sense.
I've never
That
thought of it
never
like
makes
that.
sense.
Doesn't matter.
No, but what were you saying?
Oh, I just didn't like the way that was dealt with. That like he was saying like when I said that like oh that was dirty, I was saying that like no that was dirty that they fucked them like that. Not that it was dirty that like they had money like that. And, you know.
It's just greedy, right?
Everyone
It's
agrees
just
that
it's just
dirty
really.
to pay off sins. Right? That's what Jesus got mad about. in the
No,
scripture.
that's not what I was saying.
But that's what Jesus
he-
got mad about in the scripture, and I hope everyone
No,
agrees with
that's
that.
not what I was saying.
Okay, but do you disagree with that? You think you should be able to pay off sins?
It was a dirty
You-
trick. Is that what you're saying?
Nope.
Yes.
Nope.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
How do you
okay, but I don't
pay-
understand what Nova's saying.
Because that's only
How
time
do I
that
pay
we
off-
ever saw
how do I
Jesus
pay off
get
sins?
mad in the New Testament.
Wait.
do that.
Utensil, how do I pay off sins? Tell me.
You know,
Well, you
$100
don't-
and 2 Hail Marys, and you're good. You know, like maybe
you
this is the
don't. Well, that was the reason for the whole Reformation was the idea that you could buy off God by slipping a few extra bucks into the priest's hands.
Sorry,
But-
you guys
but,
all muted.
but the idea there is
your tithings will
the
get
idea-
your slate clean, right? Like that belief or that.
right, exactly, right.
Right. And so
And-
billionaires are just
and-
like, I will donate $1 million.
And there are churches that will make it seem like we're going to give you this prosperity gospel. You're going to be prosperous, and
Yeah, but
you're
you
going to
did
be
it
so
well.
happy that you're going to be prosperous.
but you
You're
did
going to
as
give us
well.
$25, right? What's
But
that?
buddy, you did as well. You were like, oh, and like do all this and like da. You did as well. Get real.
Did what wrong? I don't understand.
I maybe.
Okay.
I think that
Okay,
the
so,
whole
like-
thing with like, sorry.
Oh, let her land.
Okay, hold on.
Land her genius plan. She's about to drop some truth knowledge on us. I want to hear it.
Okay. All right. So look. So let's just all agree that people who use religion to make a profit is wrong.
Agreed.
Agree? Yes,
Cool.
absolutely.
Cool. Because
Agreed.
this is still like convoluted in a strange sense. I don't. Yes. Okay.
Kinda.
Fantastic. We all agree on that. So do
Can I ask you a
think that,
question,
like,
Kyle? Is a church that uses that like worse than a charity? Just somebody who starts a charity and uses all that money for like their own frivolous purposes.
Oh, that's just as bad.
Okay, so they're
That's-
equal.
yeah.
Equal. Okay.
That's like the whole. Yeah, that's the whole
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. So I do want to end the live here in a minute. Because it's like almost 3 a.m. where I'm at. So I'm very curious. I want to go bottom up. All right. So we've addressed a lot of fucking problems here. Everybody's got like different ideas on like what these problems are. I'm more interested in solutions. So the person that I would like to start is young AP. What is your solution to this?
On the prompt, I would say
Yes.
I have 3 main solutions. Number
Please keep them
one,
brief.
okay. Number one, get money out of politics. There's no reason that congressmen should be trading at 300% times, these big investment banks. That's number one.
Mhm.
Right?
100% agree.
Okay. Number two, I do not think that U.S. citizens should be paying for the lifestyle of other citizens.
Of what?
What?
Other citizens. So I think that there's no reason that I should
Wait, what?
pay someone else's social security.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So get to point number 3 before we
Okay.
talk about that.
Point number 3, I think everyone, as we get older, determines the life that we live, and we all take responsibilities for our own actions in our life. Anyone who disagrees with that just thinks that someone else should pay for it. That's my point number 3, and that's where I'll end my plan.
Okay. Now we're gonna go. We're not gonna delve on any point specifically because I want to see exactly where we align first. Moto, what are your solutions?
Well, I think young AP just took most of them. I agree with that as well, and I think, yeah, just that politicians should not be making money whatsoever. I also think the citizens need to be engaged again. You know, we have choice on what our taxes are, we have choice on what our safety nets and all that are going to be. You know, but obviously, if people don't vote and they let everything go awry long enough, stuff goes over the edge. You know what I mean? If anything you unmanage and you don't manage is going to become chaotic, right? So I think that we need to get back to that a lot more. There's depending on the weeds, but in general, just that. I mean, there's plenty of other things that we've touched on that, you know, I know, like even the abortion one, like that one, I think a lot of people look at it, you know, as, you know, you have definitely contraception should be a good thing. You know, I 100% agree on that. Where they starting to get in the life argument is, you know, yeah, you can do an abortion. So even if they want to
like
say,
I said, keep it brief, brother. Keep it brief. It's got to be something overarching.
sorry.
All right.
Trying. I think honestly, that's good for me, dude.
Yeah, that was wild.
Okay, so Nova, what do you think your solutions are?
Say it again.
What are your solutions?
I think that we should just let women live, like let women like just live. We have had so many years of women, people of color, being so subjugated so much at this point. Like, fucking go off. Stop. White men, you've done it. Stop it. Who cares? You guys suck. Shut up. Nobody gives a fuck about your opinion. Most of you fucking suck. Some of you are cool. But just be quiet, normally. Stop voting for women not to have, like, ABs. Stop voting for women not to have, like, any kind of, like, birth control. Just stop, in general. Just stop.
So what is the government, like, the solution that
I just said,
stop?
Stop.
Just stop.
Men,
Okay.
just stop.
Okay. I don't
Men,
see how.
just stop.
Okay. Chaplain, where's your solution?
I think that's good. Men, just
I think we're literally like right back at the beginning of the Declaration of Independence, where it just says, you know, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them to another, and assume amongst the separate but equal stations to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them, you know, like all that. I think that we're back to that point where we have to realize, like, it's beyond just like calling ourselves like the right or the left. You know, like I try to stay in the middle. I call the light. You know, it's a combination of left and right. You know, like, so I think that would be my answer, where we have to collectively as a nation, like the citizens, have to understand that our goal is to now mold good citizens, not to like start a family and, you know, like just, you know, do our own thing, which is fine if we do. But like, you know, we have I don't know, I say like inclusive, or, you know, like a unified objective, a goal, objective, destination, if that makes sense. You know, I guess that's what I'm waiting for. It's just all of us as America just to be like, you know what, we don't want to put any more money into military. We would rather put more money into like Peace Corps, right? But the more money I see just feeding into the military, it just shows me like a world of peace without like arms is like slipping away from us. So I don't know. It's going to take a conscious change. It's not going to be like a physical policy change for me. So thank you. That's my answer.
Utensil.
So I think that sets me up pretty well because I think the fundamentals are very important, and I think Nova's point about women being over regulated, maybe is the word, over uh, uh, litigated, controlled by men. That's the whole equality thing is part of what we believe,
Right.
uh, and and that is a fundamental. So that's that's one thing. Um, the second thing would be what I was talking about earlier. I think it's really important that the government understands how much it costs to live well. I mean, that means that you can afford to go to the doctor, you can afford to get groceries, you can afford a roof over your head that's not full of roaches and doesn't leak. Um, all of that, how much it costs in any given place in the country, and understand where people are not making the money to be able to do that, because you can't tax those people. You just can't. They're barely getting by. So so I think the tax code really needs to be looked at, and it really needs to be a flat tax, and it really needs to be tight where there's no major loopholes.
Yeah.
So there's that, and
I
then
think
finally, that that really the government get back to those fundamentals to ensuring those rights, as it says. The whole reason that the United States pulled away from the king's government was because he wasn't holding up his end of the bargain with respect to English common law and the rights that were due the citizens with respect to representation and all the other grievances that are listed uh, very very fluently in the Declaration. And yeah, that's the purpose for the government, and the government better be looking at that purpose, and it's not to exact revenge for some political slight that somebody felt was dealt out.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I feel like that's the thing though, is that of course we do not agree on everything, but on everything, not anything, because we do agree on some things. But I feel like I don't know, because young AP, I feel like we've had a lot of disagreements throughout the conversation. And I wish Ethan was still in here too, because I feel like taking money out of politics is probably one of the biggest ones. And Moto, I wish he was still up here because that he mentioned that politicians shouldn't be paid, and that's something that I agree with. I don't think that they should be paid. You're doing this as a service. You get the basic right to live. Honestly, you should make whatever the hell your lowest. If you're a politician, you make as much as the lowest earner in your fucking area. Like,
There you go. There
So
you
you do
go.
get paid.
And
You do get paid, but you don't
and
get paid like some lavish salary with all these
well,
benefits and stock options,
you
right?
get,
Like,
paid
we
as much as the
we
lowest
build a
earner.
dormitory. We build a dormitory for them, and they can stay in the dormitory, and they can that will do that for them, right?
I think the main
But
thing
they
is
better.
they cannot involve themselves in any kind of like business dealings. They cannot do any kind of like money involved, right? They are specifically
Right.
focused on serving the people in which voted them in, right?
And not
So,
enriching themselves, correct?
right, take that string away from them. Just be like, you get caught like even buying a stock or something like that. If you're a Wall Street trader, don't be a politician. If you're a politician, like don't like it's like that kind of thing where we have to make people say, are you going to serve the people or are you going to serve the people and then end up serving yourself, because that's what humans do, right? Like, we can't have our cake and eat it too. Like, so that is something where we have to just sacrifice, so it's like
Yeah, sacrifice.
when
It's serving your country. It should
right.
be held. It should be held to the same, like being a politician should be held to the same respect that we give people who go to the military, because they're serving their country. And of course, the military's interests are very different from the interests of the common folk, but it's a service to people. The idea of it should be to
Hmm.
serve people. You know.
There's one thing. There's one thing that about that is it's really easier than ever to contact your congressman and send them an email, but that also means that people are sending them all kinds of stuff, and they should be given the tools to be able to really understand what their constituency is able to say. Uh, I don't know if they even read that email. Who reads the email for them? I mean, do they process it somehow and look at the most commonly occurring words, or who knows?
AI. It's
But
AI now, right? It's all AI. It's
they might. Well, that's wonderful. So our government is now run by artificial intelligence. There's your one world. There's your one-year government there, right there.
But why does that
It's-
happen, utensils? Because like that one citizen who just has to complain all the time. Here in Colorado, there was a story where this congressman was just like, there's one lady who calls us at least 15 times a week saying there's some undocumented migrants that need to be picked up. And it's just like, Sheila, okay, you know, like that's where they're just like, we just dismiss it, you know? But then the whole thing was just like, well, if you're just dismissing stuff like that, then who's to say other people who have
What are
valid
you paying
complaints,
attention?
you know, and they're just
Right.
like, oh, you know, well, it's a slow day. It's just Sheila all the time. You know, like, it's like, you know, like, so it's a slippery slope for
It's
these
Sheila
politicians. Yeah.
But you know what the craziest thing, but also the most fun thing to think about that every single one of us will agree on, whether you're right or left, blue or red, anything like that, is that the first statement that I said up there in the chat about how we should get money out of politics. The scary thing is that 91% of all Americans agree on that one same thing, and we cannot get the bill passed.
Yeah. They don't represent us anymore.
No, they don't.
They don't. They don't represent us.
Like, I think everyone agrees with us on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't agree
And-
with the everyday U.S. American citizen, and that's kind of where, like, Kyle, it's your life, but that's where I would like to end it on personally.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like
I understand.
everyone agrees on that.
Mhm.
So, you know, I followed every one of you guys. Wish every one of you guys a blessed day for the rest of the night. But, you know, I think that's one that everyone can agree on, is that, like, we got to get money out of politics. We have to. It's imperative.
All right. Well.
All right, man. I'll let you guys go. Sorry for
Have a
ranting.
lovely night. Thank you guys for sticking on here. I really
Be well.
appreciate
Thanks,
the
Kyle.
conversation.
Good seeing you, brother. Be well.
Yeah, good seeing
Yeah,
you
take
too,
it easy.
Chaplain.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.